On your home of the Gamecocks.
Did you just flip me off?
No.
Yes, you did. You just flipped me the bird. Now, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't shape up, okay, and get your head straight, there, you just flipped me off again.
107.5 The Game.
Welcome in on a Wednesday morning. Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. We'll have Brad Crawford coming up here in just a few minutes as we will get to him bright and early here on the show this morning as we'll do that. And then maybe along the way, somebody else will join. Right now, Tony Annan had training at 7 a.m. as I discovered. Thank goodness I'm not training with him. It's a lot easier, Jen, to wake up at 5 a.m. and do a sports talk radio show at 6 than I would imagine to wake up at 5:30 and be ready to go out and do soccer training at 7 a.m. And they train outside, and I'm getting older, and it's a little chilly outside this morning as we get
You're
up and
40.
get going.
You're not that old.
I'm old. 40, really going. Dealing with you every day really puts me going on somewhere in the 80s, 82, 83. The mental and physical abuse that I deal with on a daily basis from you.
Hold on, let me get that violin out for you.
Yeah.
If you hold on a second, I'll go grab that.
That's exactly what I'm talking about right there. No sympathy whatsoever. So Tony Annan will maybe join us. Might have a little surprise for Patrick Perrette on Friday as Tony may come by and hang out with us during the 7, 8 o'clock hour on Friday and catch up with Patrick as well. They've got a big match this coming weekend against Marshall, the number 3 team in the country, as they will take on the Thundering Herd over at Stone Stadium. And man, I tell you what, you know, they're gonna serve some alcohol out there. If you're not making the trip up to Lexington, Kentucky, you ought to head on over to Stone Stadium and catch up with the Gamecocks and the Thundering Herd. A great opportunity for Tony Annan and the soccer program. So, but he will be here today, apparently training his team and getting them ready for a big soccer match, far more important than coming out and hanging with Jen and I. And then apparently we're just the lonely program this morning also because Heath Klein decided to take a flight and doesn't land until like 7:45. Thankfully, everybody tells me this like kind of later in the afternoon, evening. So I was not showing up this morning thinking, oh, it'll be an easy show. We'll just get to hang out. So Heath may join us in the 8 o'clock hour when he gets off his plane.
Oh, okay. Where's he going?
I'm not real sure. It's international man of mystery, Heath Klein. I don't really, but sometimes you don't want to know these things. For all I know, he's an undercover agent.
I'm beginning to think he is.
Flying back from some foreign country where he's just, done some government work to take out some kind of foreign nationalist, and here he is returning to make sure he does his sports talk radio show later this afternoon. So Heath may join us in the 8 o'clock hour after his plane lands in Atlanta. So there you go. So we'll figure out the morning. There's plenty to talk about. Shane Beamer spoke yesterday. We'll get you some words from him. We'll start to look at the weekend schedule. A couple pretty good football games lined up, including a nooner down in Baton Rouge between LSU and Tennessee. So we will talk a lot about that this morning. You can get you some audio, and along the way, if you want to participate and hang out, you can do so. 803-404-6100 is how you can be a part of the program this morning. As always, you can go to our live stream. Jerry and Anthony up, ready to go there on our live stream. Go to youtube.com. Search 107.5 The Game. Click join, subscribe, be a part of the program. That's how you can go and participate in our chat room. So we'll get to that. Brad Crawford coming up here in about 10 minutes, and we'll get to him. A lot to get to him regarding both South Carolina. A lot of numbers coming out, I guess, yesterday, or just other people out on Twitter putting out statistics as it pertains to South Carolina, how much they're blitzing. You've seen some statistics. I know Pearson Fowler talked about it yesterday, where Spencer Rattler ranks in QBR nationally. We'll talk a little bit about that, and certainly we will start to get really focused on the South Carolina-Kentucky game for this coming weekend. So again, if you want to be a part of anything today, 404-6100 is how you can weigh in. Last night, all you Braves fans you thrilled yourself. The Braves, it was actually a big baseball night. I feel like we should ignore Aaron Judge after what ESPN did to all of us, having to, the live cut-ins every time Aaron Judge sneezed and went up to bat. Aaron Judge last night finally did hit the 62nd home run of the season for him. It sets the American League's single season record. So the national nightmare of trying to watch any of your favorite television shows only to have ESPN take over your television and show you the live at bat of Aaron Judge has finally come to an end. So Aaron Judge finally with home run number 62, he has set the new single season home run record for the American League, which was why it was so significant that ESPN stopped what you were doing each and every day to make sure you got a live look in at the at bat of Aaron Judge. Hopefully,
being Aaron Judge, would you not want to be done with this? Because that
yes,
literally every at bat, somebody's breaking into programming practically to keep an eye on this. Like, what? I wouldn't want that pressure.
I am assuming that Aaron didn't ask for this, that he was not, that this was totally, my buddy MJ hits me up. This is a good question. He says, are you even a baseball fan? I'm a fan of baseball, but I don't know if did anybody, maybe it's obviously the market we live in Columbia, South Carolina. Everybody was more focused on the Braves. That was the big story last night here, or at least, on my Twitter timeline, I was getting constant updates. The Braves with the absolutely phenomenal turnaround, coming back from 10.5 back on June 1st and clinching their 5th straight NL East title last night. They knock off the Miami Marlins. That was the story. I don't think anybody, at least here, I'm sure in New York, everybody was celebrating and partying, and today that's all they're going to talk about. Is it a big deal? Was it a big deal that Aaron Judge broke the American League home run record? Is it because of steroids? Am I off on a path early on in the morning. Is it a big deal because of steroids and what we saw McGuire and Bonds and what we've seen these guys do? Is the home run record a big deal? I genuinely don't know, because of the way that baseball has been tainted to a certain extent. And I hope that Aaron Judge is not one day found guilty of any PEDs, and I don't think he will. But there's no reason to think he will. He's just an absolute freak of nature to be that size. But my buddy who's texting in the MJ, he actually, I think, asks that I may go into later on in the show, just because now I'm kind of fascinated to know. The home run record used to be 20 years ago, I guess, when McGuire and Sosa were chasing it. It was one of, if not the most magical historical record, I think, in sports. To me, it was. I mean, I was. What is that? 95, I think. If I'm thinking correctly, 95, 96, I believe. Might be a year off. But when they were chasing it, I was glued to it. Little tiny Bill Gunner back then, not 40 years old, much younger and much more new to the world, would wake up and open the state paper every morning. This was before ESPN fully inundated you with live cut-ins of McGuire and Sosa, although I think that's what started it. But I mean, the base with the home run record, it was is it a magical number still? Is it? That's a great question that he actually poses, and we'll get to that. But we got some college football to talk about first this morning. Brad Crawford coming up here next. He'll talk to us a little bit about the SEC as a whole, but also about South Carolina and a big weekend for Marcus Satterfield, who apparently is no longer allowing Brad Crawford to follow him. We'll not necessarily bring that part up, but
what'd you do?
Well, you can ask him that. You're the one that has to call him here in just a second. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, Brad Crawford due up next. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Extra Point.
Where are we on Will Levis on this show? Oh boy.
Overrated.
I think he was a great addition to Kentucky's offense. Like I think he was and is an upgrade in a lot of ways for them. But I think we have now gone. It was like ESPN was like, we're going to make this guy into a top 5 pick.
I mean, Todd Blackwood said on the broadcast he might be the number 1 quarterback in the draft, and I was like, the number 1 quarterback taken in the 6th round? Like, what are you talking about?
It's almost like he's like a member of like a political party where they're like, this is our candidate.
It's a, you know,
and he's being like, we are going to prop him up. You know,
is he being backed by big mayonnaise?
There you go.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central. 9 a.m. to noon on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5. The Game.
Ooh, both South Carolina and Clemson on the road this weekend. And unless you're making one of those magical trips to Boston to check out the Tigers and the Eagles, or whether you're heading up to Lexington to check out the Gamecocks and the Wildcats, you're probably hanging out at the house. And given the fact that both games are at night, maybe you're having a bit of a watch party, or maybe you're just having a party, one of the two. Either way, you want your house to look beautiful this weekend. You want the carpet, the rugs, the tile, the upholstery, all to look insanely clean and with zero res each and every time. That is exactly what you get with Zero Res's patented ZR water technology, scientifically proven to keep your rugs, your carpet, your tile all insanely clean. Does not leave behind any sticky, soapy residue. So go ahead, get that cleaning book today for the big party this weekend. 803-262-4020. You can take advantage of their fall sale. All you got to remember or know is me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game. That's all you got to say when you give them a phone call, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. You just need to mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game. You can schedule with ease as well online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Again, get the cleaning system that has taken care of folks all over the Midlands out to your house today with that patented ZR water technology. Make the carpets look great. If you got rugs, if your home has tile in it, they can scrub those. I'm telling you, they've come to my house plenty of times. The kids get it from their father. Kids are messy. I was a messy kid, but Zero Res makes me look great. Do the same. 803-262-4020. Get Zero Res out today. Take advantage of their fall sale. 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. You just need to mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game. Again, you can book with ease online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
And things not too bad out there this morning. Do have a report of a car versus deer incident, I-20 westbound at just after Broad River Road. And a report of an object on the highway I-26 at Broad River Road, right there at that Valentine exit 101. So just be a little bit cautious, especially since the sun is not quite up yet. Sunny and dry today, 76 for the high, 81 tomorrow, 84 on Friday. Still no rain the next couple days, which is awesome. 49 right now at 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by Amazon Prime Video. The new era of Thursday Night Football is only on Prime Video. After 7 successful seasons, Wisconsin coach Paul Chryst was dismissed. Chryst now joins a list that features Scott Frost, Jeff Collins, Carl Durrell, and Herm Edwards as newly bought-out Power 5 school coaches. And those 5 buyouts total more than $60 million. I need to change jobs. Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio.
The new era of Thursday Night Football is here, and it's only on Prime Video. This Thursday, 2 offensive stars go head-to-head as Jonathan Taylor and the Indianapolis Colts travel to Denver to take on Russell Wilson and the new-look Broncos. Pre-game coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with TNF Tonight, delivered by Little Caesars. Not an Amazon Prime member? Sign up for a 30-day free trial to stream the game. It's the Colts and the Broncos, only on Prime Video. See Amazon.com/watchtnf for details.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you 24/7, with supplies and solutions for every industry, and access to product specialists ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Sponsored by Indeed.com. Fall into a hiring spree with Indeed. Their end-to-end hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates. Sponsor a job and instantly receive a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
With approved credit, call 888-411-7640 for details. JT's Dodgeland has the largest Ram, Charger, and Challenger inventory anywhere. When other dealers are charging thousands over, you save thousands at JT's. And get 1.9% financing. Bumps or even craters in your credit? Forget it. When other dealers say no, JT says yes, you're approved. Drive the Ram, Charger, or Challenger of your dreams. Get 1.9% financing and let JT get you approved. Dodgeland on Greystone, jtsdodge.com.
Swept by warm trade winds and soothed by the sound of the surf, Fripp Island Golf and Beach Resort remains an escape for guests of all ages. Fripp Island Resort is home to 2 breathtaking golf courses, a full-service marina, professional racket club, outdoor pool complexes, outstanding restaurants, and more. Enjoy over 3 miles of unspoiled, uncrowded beach when you discover the simple seaside serenity of Fripp Island Golf and Beach Resort. Book your vacation rental today at FrippIslandResort.com.
You wash your hands and brush your teeth, but what about your nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage pulls saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, dirt, and germs, and it's why nose cleaning is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons: sinusitis, allergies, snoring, things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they also find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Nearly 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying things like, "Best product I've ever used," and "Amazing, I love my Navage." That's because Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less. But the biggest payoff is improved health. Here's the key point. Navage is good personal hygiene, and it's going to help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, Target, and online. Navage, Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The Early Game with Bill Gunter and Jen Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks. The Early Game, 1075 The Game.
803-404-6100. We'll get out to Brad Crawford in just a few minutes here as we get him lined up. A couple of you just waiting in. I'm going to come back to this in the next hour. My buddy MJ does not have many great thoughts in life. Usually he's just a smart aleck. But I think he has actually asked a question that I'm kind of fascinated to know about this morning as it pertains to the home run record, both for baseball and for the American League. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm a huge baseball fan, but I don't know if the American League home run record, 62, which Aaron Judge broke, or it was 61, but Aaron Judge breaks by hitting home run 62 last night. I don't know if the home run record as a whole is a big deal. The number 61 used to be a magical number with Roger Maris, and if you took a poll question, I don't know how many people in the country could tell you what the number is anymore. It just feels so tainted. So next hour, we'll get into that a little bit. I'm kind of fascinated to know where people stand on the home run record, both what Aaron Judge did last night, but also for the entire sport of baseball there. It's kind of an interesting topic to me after everything that baseball's been through the last 20 years. But there will be plenty of time to talk about that, but let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines and talk a little SEC football with our good buddy Brad Crawford, who you can follow on Twitter at @BCrawford. Most of you follow him. Some of you, or one person, has blocked him, and that's okay. It's all right, Brad? It's okay sometimes to disagree with everybody's opinion, not with most people's opinions.
What'd you do?
Hey, it's all good, man. Yeah. Hey, I've been blocked before by opposing coaches or fans, so I'm sort of used to it by now.
Let's start this weekend in Lexington, Kentucky, and let's go on the opposite side of South Carolina. You start really diving into this Kentucky team, and Will Levis has had a really good year so far. He's actually had to kind of carry that Kentucky team, who currently is last in the SEC in rushing. They have not had Chris Rodriguez, and that obviously means something. But Kentucky 13th in the league in total offense. Again, dead last in rushing at 86 yards per game. What is this? This was a top 10 team a week ago, and South Carolina fans, me in particular, I guess maybe are started to develop a fear of the Wildcats, because when you lose 7 of 8, they seem more dominant than they had the past 20 years. But what is this Kentucky team in 2022, do you think?
Yeah, last week was the first time Kentucky this season had a full deck personnel-wise. You had Chris Rodriguez suspended the first 4 games because of an off-season incident. Gamecock fans know him well. I think he had 144 yards rushing last year against South Carolina, 135 as a sophomore 2 years ago. Very good player there. And then Kentucky has really good team speed on the outside with Barian Brown and Dane Key at receiver, 2 young guys that I know the UK staff is really confident about, moving forward. But outside of those 3 players, and as you mentioned, the probable first-round pick in Will Levis, Kentucky's an offense right now that has struggled as a whole. It's struggled to maintain drives, to convert third downs, and really to score points. So it's a big game for South Carolina's defense, kind of a opportunity for Clayton White's unit, I think, to, kind of ugly it up. And I think if South Carolina is going to win this game and, exercise some of these demons they've seen in Lexington on the road over the years, really since 2012, I think it is, Gamecocks have not beaten Kentucky at Kentucky. They're going to have to play well up front on defense and really frustrate Will Levis. And I think that can be done. If you watch the Ole Miss film last week, South Carolina is bigger up front than Ole Miss. They have just as much talent on that side of the football as Ole Miss does defensively. But what that defense does well for the Rebels is it just flies after the football. And I think South Carolina definitely early in the game is going to have 5 or 6 guys every snap, running toward the football.
We've talked a lot about the offense, but staying on the defense, that's been a little bit of a surprise. You've got Zach Pickens on the interior, and I don't think Pickens has had a bad year, but he hasn't done anything to stand out. Jordan Birch, I think because of the recruiting ranking, people want a lot more, understandably so. But again, I don't think Birch has had a bad year. He just hasn't done anything that would suggest he was a former 5-star prospect. Gilbert Edmond is the guy who I think is actually coming on very quickly. But where does this defense need to shine? You retweeted and you talked about the stat yesterday as it pertains to blitzes from South Carolina, and give a little insight into that and what you think about it. I'll get the full stat and break it down here in just a second, but give the full stat on that and what your take is on that.
Yeah, South Carolina has the fewest sacks in the SEC this season, despite blitzing more often than any Power 5 team. A friend of mine at work sent me that stat. He was kind of digging into this game before our prediction segment, and he was surprised. Clayton White has brought pressure more often than any Power 5 defensive coordinator this season, and the Gamecocks have 4 sacks to show for it. That's the fewest in the SEC, and I think around 125th nationally out of 131 teams. So that's something. Gamecocks are getting to the quarterback. They're getting pressures, but they're just not finishing the play. Finishing the play is something Gamecocks were able to do last season. Really good performance from Clayton White's defense. Has not done it through the first 5 games this year. And I think number 2, Bill, is the Gamecocks have to play physical and stop the run. That's really priority number 1 in this game. Every loss to Kentucky over the last 7 or 8 seasons, Gamecocks, I think 1-7 the last 8 against Kentucky, has been a result of not winning at the line of scrimmage. And Shane Beamer says it every week. We hear other SEC head coaches say the same thing. If you don't win at the line of scrimmage on offense or defense, the chances of you winning an SEC game, especially on the road, are pretty slim. So, and we know Kentucky's not a huge downfield throwing team. So, South Carolina's defense has to play physical, has to stop the run, and I think if they can get Kentucky in 2nd and 9s and 3rd and 8s, maybe that's the recipe for success on Saturday night in Lexington.
He's Brad Crawford joining us as he does from time to time. You can follow him on Twitter at bcrawford247 is the way to do that. Now, offensively, I've been trying to put this in perspective. I know it was Charlotte. I know it was South Carolina State. Still, very few times, maybe never, I really continue to search for this. Has South Carolina put up 50 points in back-to-back games? Quite honestly, Brad, I was probably on the negative side. I didn't think they would hit 40 in either game. I thought it would be a slog fest, but they do find a way, even if it wasn't as attractive as some people want. Where, in your opinion, as you watch this offense, I think it's just clunky. I think there are players there. Yeah. It just seems there doesn't seem to be a rhythm to it. It doesn't feel natural, if you will. But do you think after 18 games in Marcus Satterfield's system, after what you've seen through 5 games, that this offense magically can form some kind of rhythm on Saturday night?
Yeah, I don't think it can, especially against a Kentucky team that, outside of Georgia this year is probably the most physical team the Gamecocks have played up front. I know Arkansas's defense and, didn't have a full deck at the back end, but one of the more alarming stats for me is, this Marcus Satterfield offense, South Carolina's offense, has turned it over 13 times this season. That's the most in the SEC after 5 games. Turnover margin is -6. I think last season the Gamecocks turnover margin was at 0 because the defense was, making plays, getting takeaways. And I just think as a Gamecocks fan, supporter, staffer, you'd like to see more creativity and really less predictability in the passing game. Kentucky's only given up 2 passing touchdowns all year. I think it'll be difficult to move the football on the ground, but you're going to have to find some balance there in order to get this game competitive and, make it a 4-quarter game against the Wildcats. I think part of the issue for me watching Satterfield's offense is, like you said, there's just no continuity week to week. I think this team is still trying to search for its identity. And let's face it, man, Spencer Rattler through the first half of the season, has not been the 5-star quarterback a lot of us thought he would be. And I think some of that is on Marcus Satterfield to figure it out, get him in rhythm early in games, and let's see the Spencer Rattler that a lot of us saw 2 years ago when he, threw for 3,000 yards and 27 touchdowns at OU.
Where do you put more of that blame on with Rattler? Is it the offense? Was Rattler a product of the Lincoln Riley system and then obviously has some talent? Is it talent around him? This is a very interesting conversation because this is the midweek. This is the mid-season point right here. And to me, Brad, nothing Spencer Rattler has done suggests being really unless people at the NFL Combine are just going to look at the strong arm. There's nothing he's done that suggests he's ready for the NFL, which would be a very weird change from what we were thinking back 6 months ago.
Yeah, after 5 games, Rattler's QBR is somewhere around 115th nationally. And I did not think that this is a guy whose career completion percentage coming into his South Carolina tenure was, around 72%. I mean, the guy completes passes, not just in the screen game, but intermediate and second level throws. And those have not been there this season. I don't know if it's the lack of shots taken deep. I don't know if it's wide receiver inconsistency. I mean, from watching Oklahoma film and Spencer Rattler's, 1.5 seasons there, I will say the Sooners had better wide receiver play than South Carolina's had. I think, last Saturday night we saw Xavier Legette really drop 2 balls that led to picks. And regardless of Rattler's touchdown interception ratio right now, South Carolina's wideouts have not made plays when the opportunities have been there. So I do think it's a little bit of, the guys around him are not making plays. I don't think Marcus Satterfield has used as much, OU playbook as he says he does, at least not for me watching it. So I think it'll be very interesting to see as, Rattler goes into another tough SEC environment. Is he going to have a game where he has 1 touchdown pass and 3 picks, or are we going to see the first, 275-yard, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and the Gamecocks, make it a 1-possession game late? So Spencer Rattler really hasn't alluded to it much this season, but I don't think he looks too comfortable right now in a playbook that, according to this summer and after spring practice, Rattler said he was pretty comfortable with and he was excited to throw around. So, like I said, I think after Saturday night, around 11:30 Saturday night, Bill, we should know, kind of summarizing Rattler's first half and the Gamecocks where they are after 6 games.
Real quick, if he's not NFL, if he's does he stay? What is the outcome of this? Because man, this was not the script where Spencer Rattler struggles and is around for a second year, and I started suggesting it. Just throwing it out back in April or May or June, just saying, okay, what happens here? Well, what becomes the script if does he transfer again? Does he stay for a second year? I guess maybe it depends on the offensive coordinator. Where do you, just hypothetically looking into the crystal ball, what do you see here?
I was going to say, I really hate to speculate on quarterback depth for 2023, but I think you're going to see mass changes in that room. I think the Gamecocks right now have 5 scholarship players at quarterback. I do think Rattler comes back. I think there will be a change made at OC if, what we've seen the first 5 weeks continues over the next 2 months. And I think the bigger question, man, is where does Luke Doty fit into this? Is he going to transfer? Is he going to enter the portal and look for an opportunity to start elsewhere? Or does the new OC in spring practice, if Satterfield is canned, does he open things up and kind of see which quarterback, Rattler or Doty, is the better fit for his scheme? So I think it'll be very interesting, the Gamecocks offense in 2023. And really, this second half of the season is not only big for Marcus Satterfield and his job security, but it's huge for Spencer Rattler. And, to show to the rest of this coaching staff that he is the guy, and, Luke Doty doesn't deserve more reps.
Brad, we appreciate you each and every time you join us. I know it's early in the morning, but you got a full slate of interviews today. So good luck out there, and look forward to catching up with you in the next few weeks. We'll talk a little more SEC football.
Thanks for having me, man.
Take care. Brad Crawford of 24/7 Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at BCrawford247 is the way to do that. We'll come back and discuss some of what he had to say. We'll gear up. I really do want to get into some of this home run conversation. The Braves win the National League East last night. We'll talk a little bit about that and get you a lot of college football discussion as we roll through the morning. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game's 15th anniversary rewind. 2009.
Michael Jackson dies at the age of 50. The movie Avatar is released. It'll go on to break many box office records. U.S. Airways Flight 1549 is struck by geese, forcing a crash landing on the Hudson River by pilot Sully Sullenberger. All 155 people on board survived. At Carolina, the football team went 7-6 and lost the Papa John's Bowl to UConn. The men's basketball team finished 21-10 in Coach Darren Horn's first year. The women's hoop squad completed Coach Don Staley's first season 10-18. And the baseball team went 40-23 and advanced to the NCAA regionals.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner. On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game and the new 107.5 The Game app.
Woke up this morning, I think it was in the 40s, the high 40s. So that temperature, the fall mornings, the winter mornings, they are just around the corner if they're not already here. And one thing you've heard me talk about for months is making sure your air conditioner was ready for the Columbia summer. Now I'm going to tell you the Columbia winter may get you if your heat is not ready. You definitely don't want to wake up on a nice January or February morning and the heat be out and you're terrified to get out from underneath the covers, all because you didn't call AAA Heating and Air today and took advantage of just whether it's getting them out to do a little inspection, maintain your current heating and air unit, or take advantage of the best time ever to purchase a brand new heating and air unit. AAA Heating and Air must clear out their warehouse right now to make room for the new government regulated systems that will be sold after December 2022. So right now you're guaranteed to get one of the best deals you've ever gotten. And how about this? They guarantee financing. That means everybody can get qualified, not just those with great credit. Anybody can get qualified for financing. So call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. You just need to tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Guaranteed financing and a 15-year parts and labor warranty to go along with whatever you're getting from AAA Heating and Air. You can get a brand new system. They actually have multiple systems. You can get different quotes on them. They did this for me not too long ago. You're going to get a great deal. So call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. Take advantage of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity with AAA Heating and Air to save money on a brand new heating and air unit. You can actually get quality comfort in your home tomorrow by calling today, 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
And looking at the forecast, I guess we'll look at the forecast. We'll look at the traffic conditions first. How's that sound? I-20 westbound after Broad River Road, we do have a deer incident. Also, I-77 southbound at Blythewood Road, an accident there. And I-126 eastbound at around Greystone Boulevard, an object on the roadway. So just be careful approaching that area. Aside from that, the traffic is moving along okay. Sorry, things were popping on and off, but we're looking for a high today of 76, sunny and dry. Hits 81 tomorrow and 84 on Friday. It's 49 right now at 107.5 The Game.
An approved credit call, 866-243-4623 for details. JT's Jeep Ram has the largest Jeep inventory anywhere. When other dealers are charging thousands over, you save thousands at JT's. And get 1.9% financing. Bumps or even craters in your credit? Forget it. When other dealers say no, JT says yes, you're approved. Drive the Jeep or Ram of your dreams. Get 1.9% financing and let JT get you approved. JT's Jeep Ram Lexington. JT'sJeep.com.
So many people here are getting real lasting joint pain relief from QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics has changed my life. I would recommend QC to anybody.
The work that QC Kinetics did paid off exponentially.
It brought me back to an effective age of almost in my 20s and 30s.
QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge regenerative medicine, natural biologics from your own body, precision treatments that can restore and repair damaged tissue in your aching joints with no meds, no steroids, no drugs, and no downtime.
I got a very quick run.
All right, you said number one, right?
A all-natural therapy. You're using you to fix you.
I got my life back. I got my smile back. And best of all, I got my laugh back.
Don't live with that pain anymore. And don't let
Sorry, we're doing there's a whole lot of producing going on behind the scenes this morning. We're
803-281-6860. 803-281-6860.
More actual producing work than we typically do. All right, let's.
Prescription products require online consultation. The healthcare provider who will determine if prescriptions appropriate restrictions apply. See website for full details and more exclusive information. Prescription required refunding in full for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% sugar and you can get it online? Go to 4hims.com/joy and Hims will get a free medical consultation and discreet shipping if prescribed. Love your results or your money back. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHINS.com/JOY.
Did you hear about Talk About Apology? Yeah, they apologize for going too far. Simple food, like the breakfast crunch wrap, fried eggs, melted cheese, sausage, crispy hash browns, wrapped in warm tortillas, or sometimes a breakfast.
Be prepared for an away game like this?
Yeah, certainly crowd noise is an issue that you don't have to worry about so much at home. And that's not just offense. That's when you're on special teams as well. Like when we punt and the communication you got to have with the punt team out there and preparing for that crowd noise. To be honest with you, though, not a lot. I mean, we played the music in certain parts of practice, whether we're playing at home or away. You know, the one thing that we do differently is on Thursdays in practice, we'll utilize crowd noise a little bit more in the team periods with the offense and things like that, just so we have to communicate. Punt team, we did a little bit today. If you heard it towards the end of practice, it would have been when we were kicking field goals. You know, we do that home or away just to try and, you know, make things difficult on the kickers and just create more pressure. But we try and keep the routine the same. You know, our schedule on Friday will be the exact same as what it is for a home game. Other than just instead of getting on a bus to go to a hotel, we got to go on a bus to get on an airplane, you know, but the schedule's the same on game day as well. And try and not make it bigger than it is, doing what we have to do to just go play well and coach well. And that's the most important thing.
That's Shane Beamer yesterday during his press conference talking about going on the road, preparing to go on the road. And look, this is something that has got to change. South Carolina has played 5 road games, 5 SEC is what we should label it. They did win, obviously, the East Carolina road game. North Carolina was a neutral site game, but 5 SEC road games. They are 0-5. They've given up 40 or more points in 4 of those 5. Missouri was the only game in which the opponent did not score 40 points, and that was a 31-28 loss on the road in Columbia, Missouri last year. But the results have been ugly. I mean, to say the least, they've been ugly. Georgia last year, who's better than South Carolina, 40-13. At Tennessee last year, 45-20. At Texas A&M, 44-14. And obviously this year, 44-30 at Arkansas. So the results have been ugly. The results really are not better, as I gave these statistics yesterday for South Carolina going on the road. Since 2018, South Carolina is 4-14 on the road. 2 of those wins are against Vanderbilt. The Gamecocks have lost their last 8 SEC road trips. In their last 10 road games, they are 1-9. That one win coming against Vanderbilt, and they've given up 40.1 points per game, and they've given up 7 in the last 8 games. 7 of the last 8, South Carolina's given up 40 points on the road. Things have to change. I mean, if you want to take any kind of step forward, that's got to change. And yes, the SEC is tough, but there's no excuse. And South Carolina, that'll be one area how this team is prepared for a road game on Saturday night. Lexington, Kentucky is not one of the more hostile environments in the SEC. They've certainly changed that environment a lot from when I made several trips up in the early 2000s, but it's still not going to be at Death Valley in Baton Rouge on a Saturday night. It's not Gainesville on a Saturday afternoon. Tuscaloosa is actually one of the more quieter venues I had ever been to, and that was kind of a close game the 2 times I had been there. Or 2 out of the 3. One of them, South Carolina actually won, and it was real quiet that day. Auburn is extremely loud. Georgia's a absolute nightmare to get in and out of. It's almost borderline dangerous. So there's a lot of great environments in the SEC where you go to for a night game. Kentucky is not one of those. They've, again, improved dramatically from where they were. Winning will do that. But South Carolina has got to play much, much better on the road. And I give you those statistics again. And you know, if you just narrow it down to the Shane Beamer era, South Carolina against SEC competition, 0-5 on the road in 4 games of giving up 40 or more points. Yes, the offense has to play better. There's no question about it. That was some very good information, I thought, from Brad Crawford there as it pertains not to just this year's offense, but the offense moving forward and the personnel that may be involved on the offense moving forward. So a lot of good stuff there. Jen will have that up on our Twitter account and on our podcast page as well. Several of you just kind of weighing in. Steve saying coach and staff don't prepare the team for road games. They're not a very good coaching staff. I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't know if I would go that far, but certainly the numbers, Steve, you know, they're there with you. I wouldn't refer them I wouldn't say they were a bad coaching staff though, but certainly in terms of not being prepared for road games, especially when you look at it Georgia was up 14-6 to start the first quarter. At the end of the first quarter, Tennessee was up 28-0 at the end of the first quarter. Texas A&M up 14-0 at the end of the first quarter. Arkansas was up 7-3 at the end of the first quarter. Missouri, the only time that South Carolina's had a lead at the end of the first quarter. So at least the numbers stick with you. I just don't know if I'd call them a bad coaching staff. John asks, how long does he continue to stick with Satterfield? All we heard all offseason is how explosive this offense will be. Personally, my guess is Satterfield, barring a complete meltdown, like South Carolina gets bludgeoned 31-0. Satterfield is the offensive coordinator through the remainder of the year, but that's purely a guess, nothing more to that on that. 803-404-6100. We'll come back and wrap up hour number 1. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner. On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game and the new 107.5 The Game app.
Going out, purchasing a new vehicle, it should be a fun experience. You heard me talking about this lately. You're basically adding a member of the family because that vehicle, I mean, if you're like most people, kids grow up in that thing. They get transported everywhere. It basically becomes something that is part of the childhood memory. Riding around with your parents, being taken to soccer practice or going to cheerleading or dance or whatever your kids are into, maybe band practice. That vehicle is an important part of your life. So it's not just an easy decision when you go out. You don't just go over to the car lot and say, oh, we'll take the red one over there. Yeah, that one's got 4 wheels. It's a big decision. You're going to spend some money on it, and you want to make the right decision. At Love Chevrolet, they've been taking care of customers for over 60 years, taking care of families just like yours and mine, making sure you purchase not just the right vehicle, but the one that fits your everyday needs. Let's be honest. If you've got 5 kids and you're about to take them to football or basketball or soccer, you don't really need a small 2-door sedan now, do you? You probably need something a little bit bigger. Now, it might be easy for you to figure that out, but the folks at Love Chevrolet are there to help you. They're here to find the right car or truck that fits your family's need. So go visit Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. You know, the best part, obviously, they've got the $1,000 low price guarantee that's never been beaten, where you can go shop other dealerships. They've got the incredible selection of vehicles, 14 acres of brand new Chevys. But the best part, actually, is the sales staff, people with experience, knowledge that have been there for over 20 years and are excited to help you from the time you come on the lot to the time you drive off with that huge smile on your face. Go visit Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
I-20 westbound after Broad River Road, still working an earlier incident, car versus deer, that is. Still a report of an object on the highway, I-126 eastbound at Greystone Boulevard, as well as I-26 at Broad River Road exit, that's exit 101. And exit I-77 southbound at Blythewood Road, we do have a report of an accident there. Beautiful forecast on tap. Going to keep warming up. 76 today, 81 tomorrow, 84 on Friday. It's 49 right now at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Mucinex Fast Max Cold and Flu All-in-One. Skip the symptoms, not the celebration.
Celebrate comeback season with Mucinex Fast Max Cold and Flu All-in-One. Its maximum strength formula tackles up to 9 cold and flu symptoms. Try Mucinex All-in-One and get $5 cash back to celebrate your comeback. Visit fastmaxcashback.com to learn more. Use as directed.
Swept by warm trade winds and soothed by the sound of the surf, Fripp Island Golf and Beach Resort remains an escape for guests of all ages. Fripp Island Resort is home to 2 breathtaking golf courses, a full-service marina, professional racket club, outdoor pool complexes, outstanding restaurants, and more. Enjoy over 3 miles of unspoiled, uncrowded beach when you discover the simple seaside serenity of Fripp Island Golf and Beach Resort. Book your vacation rental today at FrippIslandResort.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car.
How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now, but I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code WIN for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WIN for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code WIN.
Holy Schnitzel! Oktoberfest is back. October 7th, 8th, and 9th. 3 days of food, fun, and entertainment for the whole family. Come savor schnitzel and brat sandwich.
Not ignoring y'all. Just again, we got a lot of production we're doing this morning. Jen's got to leave a little early. We'll have Ed Bird come in, so we're doing a lot of production. But y'all chat amongst yourself. Keep it up. You're doing great. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. You get the point. Good morning. Just keep chatting amongst yourself. I appreciate it. That's what it's there for. You're doing fantastic. Just trying to get some audio and stuff taken care of. Don't have time to sit here and socialize quite like I normally do.
Or waiting for weeks. We deliver in Richland and Lexington County too. Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio, 3303 Forest Drive, and jackoliverpools.com.
This update is sponsored by AAA Heating and Air, home of the $1,500 buyback. AAA Heating and Air must clear out its warehouse before new government efficiency regulations go into effect in 2023. No deals will be turned down. Call today to get a new unit tomorrow. 803-677-1500.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game with Bill Gunter and Jen Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks. The early game. 1075 The Game.
803-404-6100. Why, how you can become involved in the program. I'll get to a few more of those real quick. Anonymous texter says, why include years before Beamer even got here on away record? Seems a little ingenuous. The reason is, look, you've got these players that have been here. Players have to know how to win on the road. I'm not putting it all on the coaching staff, but there's an element of knowing how to go on the road and prepare. I've talked to Perry Orth and other guys about this, and as you heard Shane Beamer say, going out there and knowing how to handle yourself, flying, going to the hotel, handling the road environment. This is a program right now that's got to relearn how to win on the road. Let's go out to the Love Chevy phone line. A man who knows how to win on the road is all about it. Gamecock Larry, you got about a minute, Gamecock Larry. Go ahead. What is the thoughts for Wednesday?
I knew you wasn't going to give me enough time, but let me tell you, old Root Hog or Wildcat Earl or somebody called me, but I just got one thing to say. I ain't bashing nobody, but I think we need to start a different quarterback. Somebody that got experience in the SEC. We're going to win Saturday night, but we do a lot better with someone else in there. That's about all I got to say. I'll talk more about that tomorrow. But get off this preseason hype that was coming to Carolina, and let's put our best player, you know what I'm talking about. Not bashing nobody, but let's start a new quarterback. Go Gamecocks, love all y'all. Talk to you tomorrow, Bill. I'm going to call later so I can get more time.
Attaboy. Very wise. Yes, your time is earlier in the show. We slipped you in there. Appreciate that. How about that? Gamecock Larry and Ray on our live stream, very similar this morning. Ray must be his son or related to Gamecock Larry. Maybe that's why it's Ray Gamecock or Gamecock Ray. Start calling him that. How about that this morning? Didn't see that phone call coming. Coming up, hour number 2. I want to get into some baseball. Aaron Judge hits home run 62. Do you care? Does it matter? There's a reason I'm going to go somewhere that. And the Braves clinched the NL East last night. We'll talk some college football, too. Early game, 107.5 The Game.
The home of the game.
CW, you're up every morning. You hear him. You catch him.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, count on the experts at Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine to get you moving again. Our highly specialized physicians offer comprehensive care for patients at
All right, I think we're. Oh, well, he's on the. You just got to tell your brother to come back to the live stream. Tell your brother to come back to the live stream and tune in. That's what we got to do. Just send him the link to the live stream. He tell him to subscribe. Smart. Tell him to subscribe. That's what we got to do. You got to listen to Gamecock. Gamecock Larry might become live stream content only. That's Jen. How we could improve the live stream numbers. Make Gamecock Larry live stream content only. The way you hear Gamecock Larry is through the live stream. You have to subscribe.
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine? Like,
we'll pump those numbers up right there. If you want to hear the Gamecock Larry call of the day, you gotta subscribe on the live stream.
and and then you could see his breakfast fare. You could see his liver pudding. It would just be quite the content.
That would be.
I'm suspecting that when we see him, it might be like this, or like. Bless
it would
him.
be up. It would be up to his ear. You would just see his ear.
Right. Exactly. I say that with love because that probably would be the same, with my 94-year-old mother.
Oh, I mean that my my family does that.
When I say, hey, have you looked at your iPad lately? My what? Well, I was looking at my Facebook. Oh, your Facebook is the whole device. Ah, okay. Bless her.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
This iPad is dominated this week. Meeting in the hands of this iPad. We'll see if I got it fixed there. On your home of the Gamecocks.
Today's phrase of the day is I have no clue.
107.5.
If you say I have no clue, this means I don't know.
In fact, I don't even have any idea.
The Game.
Hour number 2 here of the early game. We'll get into some college football discussion. Kind of a more caller text friendly show today. Normally we are always guest laden each and every morning. As you've maybe noticed over the last month or so, we've made some changes and love having Tony Annan in normally at this time to talk a little men's soccer. They're taking on Marshall this coming Saturday night. We'll actually give a family 4-pack of tickets away coming up here probably in about 20 minutes to Saturday night's match versus Marshall. It'll be the Gamecocks and the Thundering Herd. It'll be a big one for South Carolina as they take on Marshall, number 3. The Gamecocks still undefeated in conference play after the draw against West Virginia last weekend, but South Carolina training this morning, bright and early, chilly morning over at Stone Stadium, but Tony Annan and his ball club training, so not in. He may be in on Friday. So if you want to weigh in this morning, 803-404-6100 is how you can do that. A couple of you already doing that. Steve correcting himself earlier. He said, not a very good coaching staff. He said, I want to correct myself. I didn't mean to say bad coaching staff. They just don't prepare very well. And certainly, Steve, the numbers there can kind of bear that out with you. Very hard to argue. They're going to have to prove themselves. There's no doubt about it. This is another opportunity for them to go on the road, for South Carolina to come out of the gate, be ready to play football within the first 7 or 8 minutes, not let Kentucky get the ball first or second and drive down and score on them. Same thing with South Carolina. Come out, get some points on the board on the first drive, show that you're there to play and be physical. That's the one thing you heard Brad Crawford talking about. That's kind of the one thing is South Carolina's got to come out of the gate and be physical. And they have seemed to not do that when they go on the road. It seems to take them a quarter and a half, even 2 quarters before they wake up and are ready to go. But we'll talk more about that as we go along this morning. Certainly, if you want to call in and be more a part of the program today, it's a good day for you to chime in with your thoughts and opinions. 803-404-6100. You can do that via the Love Chevy phone lines. You can also text in, or as always, you can go to our live stream there. Alan, T. Pauls, Larry, C.W. Clark, Tommy Vols, Chuck, they're all up and hanging out with us on our live stream where you can go and be a part of the program. The big news last night, Major League Baseball. Fun night, really, in Major League Baseball. And one of them was the Atlanta Braves, who clinched their 5th consecutive National League East Division Championship. Absolutely incredible. Coming back from 10.5 games down on June 1st. Here is the final out last night via the Braves radio network.
In the air right. Ronald is there, and the Braves have won the East.
That is Atlanta winning last night. You hear the crowd. You hear the crowd booing a little bit as they got fired up last night. But the Braves knock off the Marlins down in Miami. The 5th consecutive NL East divisional championship, and that now leads us to a completed Major League Baseball playoff bracket. Now, for those of you wondering, who, if you're like me, and it's perfectly okay to admit that 162 games is a long season. It's all right. I will openly admit, do not watch a whole lot of baseball from the day after opening day through just about yesterday. Last week I started getting a little more invested in Major League Baseball. It's kind of, I'm not even going to lie to you. I love NBA basketball. I watch about the first 2 weeks, and then I really don't pay attention until it's playoff time when seasons are that long. Sure, I'll watch here and there. I'll flip on a game if it's on a Sunday afternoon, or if I've got nothing going on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday night. I probably have, as I've gotten a little older, I probably have enjoyed maybe a little more baseball in the evening, just relaxing, sitting around. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend to tell you that I'm all in on Major League Baseball in the months of June, July, and August. But as we hit this point of the year, yes, I become more invested. But if you're wondering, there is a new Major League Baseball postseason format. There will be 12 teams in it. Boy, we have grown from the days when I grew up, when a lot of you grew up, of the the East and the, I can't even remember, the National League, where you had the divisional series between the winners of both divisions versus, and then you had the American League. So you only had 4 teams in it. Now, as we sit here in 2022, we're up to 12 teams participating. The wild card series will feature 4 best of 3 series. All right. So follow me on that. You got 4 best of 3. Remember, you used to have the single game, 1 game wild card playoff. That's no more. There is no more 1 game wild card playoff. Now it is a best of 3 wild card series. And then the top 2 teams in each league get a bye into the next round, the division series as it's being labeled. So the number 1 and number 2 seeds receive first round byes and advance directly to the division series. You've got the 3 seed taking on the 6 seed and the 4 seed taking on the 5 seed here in the wild card. So for those of you wondering, the playoff format looks like this. In the National League, it'll be the number 6 seed Phillies taking on the number 3 seed St. Louis Cardinals. The winner of that series will get the Braves. So regardless of what happens, that is set. So even if the Phillies, the 6th seed, win, just because they are the highest seed remaining, they would not be advanced. This is not an NFL-style playoff where the highest seed still takes on the lowest seed. The Phillies or the Cardinals will get the Braves. That's how it is set up. The 5 versus 4 matchup will be the Padres and the Mets. So the winner of that series, 3-game series, will take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. So your National League side will start with a 3-game series between the Phillies and the Cardinals, the Padres and the Mets, those 2 series. Again, the winner of the Phillies and the Cardinals advance on to take on Atlanta in the divisional series. The Padres and the Mets, the winner of that, advance to take on the Dodgers in the divisional series, and then you move on from there. On the American League side, Houston ends up claiming the number 1 seed there in the American League. The Yankees are the 2 seed. Both get the byes to the divisional series. Tampa Bay and Cleveland will be one part of the American League wild card. The Rays versus the Guardians. It's fun to try and remember to say the Guardians. The Rays and the Guardians. Winner of that series will get the Yankees. And then you've got the Seattle Mariners taking on the Toronto Blue Jays as the 5 versus 4 series. The winner of that gets the Houston Astros. So your baseball postseason picture is now fully in focus. We are now completely aware of what the postseason will look like. Again, the Braves with their NL East 5th straight divisional champion division championship, they advance as the 2 seed, coming from 10.5 back again on June 1st to overtake the Mets. They'll get the winner of the Phillies and the Cardinals. Again, you've got the Padres and the Mets, the 5 versus 4, taking on the Dodgers there. What the winner of that will move on and take on the Dodgers. So that's the National League side. On the American League side, it is Tampa Bay and Cleveland in the wild card series. Winner of that gets the Yankees, the Mariners, and the Blue Jays. 5 versus 4. The winner of that gets the Astros, and then we move on with 7-game series from there. So it'll be let's just say this. It'll be a very long postseason of Major League Baseball. The season was long. Now the postseason just as long almost. Baseball year-round is what you can get excited for.
You aren't a Cubs fan. You don't totally understand the concept of a long baseball season?
Like I said, no. I mean, I guess I'm a Braves fan. I mean, again, I'm excited for them. I'm a Braves fan because people around here are Braves fans,
right?
And it makes it more fun to discuss the Braves on air with me. Like if the Braves weren't in it, I don't know how much we would ever really bring up on this program. I don't know how much we would bring up the Major League Baseball playoffs. I would watch it. I would kind of have it on, in the evening or in the afternoon whenever these games are taking place. But I can't really tell you how much I would sit here and discuss it because the Braves are in it. We'll make it a little bit of a talking point. We'll keep up with it. We'll look at it. We'll watch it. We'll make it a little bit more of a talking point, just like, we've talked more Major League Baseball, and we hadn't talked much. We've talked more Major League Baseball and probably in the last 3 days, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, maybe go back Thursday. I don't know. We've probably talked more Major League Baseball in the last 12 hours of this show than we have in the last 2 years.
Yeah, so it's the local team, so it makes sense, yeah.
I mean, we talked a little bit about them last year. I think the last time we talked this much baseball, the only reason we did it was because your Cubs were winning a World Series. I think we got a little invested when the Nationals won because of Patrick, but
Yeah, it's been since 2016 for the Cubs.
it has to basically it has to, for us to talk Major League Baseball, it has to pertain to one of the teams that either you or Patrick
exactly
followed.
There you go.
It had nothing to do with anything else. So, but there's your baseball postseason picture. When we come back, I want to get into this a little bit about Aaron Judge. I'm kind of fascinated to know. Last night he hits home run number 62. It says the American League record for home runs in a season. And obviously in doing that surpasses Roger Maris to also become the Yankees all-time single-season home run leader, obviously. But I brought this up. I don't know if anybody cares. I don't know if the Major League home run record as a whole matters anymore. 61 used to be a magical number. Growing up as a kid, 61 was a number. I followed a lot of sports, and 61 was a magical number. Roger Maris was a magical name. As we go to break, 803-404-6100, see if you can do this. I was wrong. I had to look it up, and I was wrong. I was off by one. I was one over. What is the home run record now for a single season for home run? Don't look it up. Just play along. I won't call you out if you're wrong. Do you know the magical number now for single season home runs? I'm assuming most everybody knows who has it. I'll just ask you just in case. We'll play along. We'll see if you know for sure. But do you know that? Because it used to be such a magical number. To me, it was an incredible number. And I'm kind of fascinated to know if people still follow that record, much like I did growing up as a kid. 61 with Roger Maris. That was easy. That was fun. Playing Little League Baseball, that was easy. I don't know if that's still the case. Do you know what the record is now? Do you know the actual number? And I feel like the majority of you, 90%, are going to know who the guy is that owns the record. But 803-404-6100. We'll see if you know that. We'll come back. We'll play a little Aaron Judge. We'll let you listen to all that and talk a little Major League Baseball this morning. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up on the next Extra Point.
Where are we on Will Levis on this show? Oh, boy.
Overrated.
I think he was a great addition to Kentucky's offense. Like, I think he was and is an upgrade in a lot of ways for them. But I think we have now gone, it was like ESPN was like, we're going to make this guy into a top 5 pick.
I mean, Todd Blackwood said on the broadcast he might be the number 1 quarterback in the draft. And I was like, the number 1 quarterback taken in the 6th round? Like, what are you talking about?
It's almost like he's like a member of like a political party where they're like, this is our candidate.
It's a, you know,
and
what,
he's being like, we are going to prop him up. You know,
is he being backed by Big Mayonnaise?
There you go.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central. 9 a.m. to noon on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
So we're officially into fall, and over the summer you're probably really busy and like, well, this hurts, that hurts, and I'm not really going to mess with it. Well, the holidays are coming up, so you're going to be busy again. So really, this is the time to stop and take care of you, which means you need to call Prisma Health Orthopedics if you've been having any chronic pain. They're the official team physicians for the Carolina Gamecocks and the Clemson Tigers, but Prisma Health Orthopedics also is there for you and your family, and they provide the same care that they do to those top athletes. They're the most comprehensive orthopedic group in the region. They have 65 specialists and 6 locations just to help serve you better. They offer specialized orthopedic care for a full range of conditions and work one-on-one with patients to guide the treatment from diagnosis to recovery, ensuring a personal connection to your care. They're the region's most trusted orthopedic practice with a deep-rooted history that spans nearly a century. They're leaders in innovative procedures, and they're leaders in teaching the next generation of orthopedic physicians. And for those sports injuries, those strains or sprains or fractures, Prisma Health Orthopedics offers a full-service walk-in orthopedic urgent care for all of those issues, but they'll also see you for chronic joint pain. Prisma Health Orthopedics, plain and simple, has built a foundation for patient-centered care and innovation that results in the best possible services for their patients. You can learn more by visiting prismahealth.org/orthopedics.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
I-26 eastbound at Broad River Road. We have a report of an accident there Also, a report of a disabled vehicle that could slow things down just a little bit. ICE 26 eastbound just after the peak exit. Or I'm sorry, they're saying the peak exit. I have to get that straight, but it looks like actually after Broad River Road and the peak exit could be slowdowns in both places there. We're also showing I-77 southbound at Blythewood Road having a problem. And other than that, things moving along fairly well this morning. At least it's a little bit better than yesterday morning. 76 for the high today, 81 tomorrow, 49 right now. 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Science with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by AutoZone. Get the zone, AutoZone. Today's birthday shout-out goes to the great Travis Kelce. Pro Football Focus recently ranked the Chiefs All-Pro tops among NFL tight ends. And as a special gift for his 33rd birthday, I'm giving the Cleveland native one of my weekly offensive game balls for Sunday night's 9-catch, 92-yard, 1-touchdown performance at Tampa Bay. I'm Boomer Science.
CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. A bottle of Gum Out Fuel Injector Cleaner can clean your entire system and help your engine get more MPGs. Right now, you can get 2 bottles for only $7. A great deal to help you go a good deal farther. Find Gum Out Fuel Injector Cleaner and everything you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,200 stores. Restrictions apply. When a cold comes on strong,
What's going on, buddy?
knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just 1 dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe. The daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed. Sponsored by the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Federal Employee Program. At the Blue Cross.
Okay. We got Heath lined up for 8:15 this morning.
Now it's time to see what they can do for you. Learn more about healthy benefits at fepblue.org.
So we are set.
JT's Dodge Lane has the largest Ram, Charger, and Challenger inventory anywhere. When other dealers are charging thousands over, you save thousands at JT and get 1.9% financing. Bumps or even craters in your credit, forget it. When other dealers say no,
Where did everybody go? Lost the whole staff.
Get 1.9% financing and let JT get you approved. Dodge Lane on Greystone, JT'sDodge.com.
Meet Boost, the amazing, amazing vitamin boosts that make you feel like
I like to boost it, my vitamins that boost it. I like to boost it, we like that.
Boost effervescent vitamins turn your H2O into H2O to give you a fantastic feeling like
I like to boost it, my vitamins that boost it. I like to boost it, we like that.
Because it's not just vitamins, it's Boost, the amazing, amazing vitamin boost.
For Butcher's Coffee. For EJ's Sandwich Shop. For Springfield Fillington.
Every day, Staples helps every kind of small business create bold signs that sing. And now get $10 off custom signs, banners, and posters when you spend $50 or more. Ends 12/31. Visit staplesconnect.com/business-sign for details.
South Carolina weather can be a little crazy. Make sure your biggest investment is protected. Call the guys in the powder blue trucks, the Guttermen. They've been providing top-notch service throughout the Midlands for over 40 years. Call the Guttermen today at 791-7147. That's 791-7147.
8:15 to about 8:45.
Titus and Tate, a podcast from 2 obsessed basketball lovers.
Donovan Mitchell is going to the Cavs. The Cavs have basically given the Jazz everything. I need you to explain this to me. Anytime a trade is one guy for like 38 things, my brain is too stupid to like figure out who won.
I will say, you don't want to be a lose-lose trade, and I do think it could be a win-win. So, the Titus and Tate podcast, wherever you listen.
Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning, the most trusted and reviewed cleaning company in town. Take advantage of their fall sale going on now. It's
Oh, Paul, we got so much going on this morning. Oh, here, listen to this.
On December 27th, 2014, Steve Spurrier's Gamecocks took on the Miami Hurricanes in the Independence Bowl. Miami led 7-0 with 8:04 left in the first half. Dylan Thompson about to take the snap from his own 22-yard line, 2nd and 10. Here are Todd Ellis and Tommy Suggs.
Allen Knott stands over it. Thompson out of the gun. Davis to his left. He wants to throw it again. Shotgun snap. Throwing. Got a man. Farrell Cooper go at the 45. Farrell in open space and a move at the 40. Farrell going to cut back and a block from KJ Britt. Farrell at the 15. Are you kidding me? Touchdown Carolina. Touchdown Farrell Cooper. 78 yards. The extra point. Carolina will go up just like that in the Independence Bowl over Miami. Boom.
He was wide open, Todd. Wide open. Good protection that time. Good snap.
Final score, Carolina 24, Miami 21. That's our old-timey clip of the day, sponsored by Old Timey Meat Market with 3 locations, Lexington, South Congaree, and St. Andrews Road in Irmo.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
with Bill Gunter and Jen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Aaron Judge is the American League single-season home run leader. The AL King. Case closed.
That was the home run to put Aaron Judge over the top for the American League home run record. And I guess, yes, the Yankees home run record as well. May as well lump that in there because Roger Maris owned it with 61. And going into the break, I asked you, and I continue to ask this morning, what does the home run record mean anymore? I'll admit, I just it means nothing to me. It did get tainted with Barry Bonds and with Mark McGwire and with Sammy Sosa. Growing up, though, Roger Maris, 61, and I played a lot of Little League baseball. I never played high school, but never played any school baseball. Played Little League, was really, really good as a 10-year-old. Really thought that was going to be the path. And then the kids around me grew up and the arm wasn't quite as strong. And, well, those dreams faded quickly. So I went to basketball because everybody knows short people are in high demand for basketball. But basically, that was 61. Roger Maris, that was the record. And yeah, I remember back with McGwire and Sosa and the following everything. And obviously it was coming off of the strike season in the 90s and it brought everybody kind of back. And then we discovered what McGwire and Sosa would do. And Sosa was using PEDs and stuffing bats with, whatever he used to, I think, what was it, rubber balls or something to help with the bounce of the bat. But yeah, that tainted it. And then you get Barry Bonds. And I don't know why, but I just naturally assumed Barry Bonds, I guess, hit 74. It turns out it was 73. I had to go back and look it up. A lot of you, or most of you, knew that this morning. Co-pilot Gene saying 73, but it's tainted. Jacob, Roman, Marshall, several of y'all weighing in, and you knew the number. I just, that number, and Aaron Judge, I hope, is playing the game as cleanly as you can play it these days. But maybe we should look at Aaron Judge a little bit differently. But I wondered that, and I started to wonder because in the opening segment, I was kind of joking about ESPN cutting to Aaron Judge. It seemed like every at bat or anytime he even made it to Yankee Stadium, you'd be watching a football game. They'd be lining up the game-winning field goal the last 2 weeks, and all of a sudden ESPN would cut in to show you an Aaron Judge at bat. And quite frankly, it was a little annoying. I didn't care. I don't know. Maybe that's where I am with baseball and home runs. Maybe that's just where I am with Aaron Judge. Maybe that's just where I am as a baseball fan. But, that's what happened when you've got guys like Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa who break the record or go about breaking the record and then end up being tainted. Somebody weighed in already this morning. See if I can go back and find it, and said the true home buddy said Hank Aaron is the rightful home run king. And maybe so. And that's I'm just kind of interested to hear what people think now about those records in baseball. Ronnie saying, I'm just glad it's over. Was a little sick of it. And then he says Barry Bonds over 70. Richard says means absolutely nothing because so many people on PEDs, steroids, other stuff, HGH. And I don't know if a lot of people feel that way. Maybe baseball purists still look at, I don't know. It's a strange record, and it's now something that and this is why I asked the question. I felt that in the 90s, as I was growing up, and I grew up going to a lot of Braves games, and because of some family things, ended up living in New York a little bit and went to plenty of Yankees games, and that's how I became a Yankees and a Braves fan. But with that being said, a lot of the baseball records, Ted Williams, Roger Maris, maybe it's the era that's gone by. Maybe it's, just the nostalgia of the black and white that we would see on television, and Ted Williams and Roger Maris, and just what baseball was for the country as a whole back in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s even. And it's really been, replaced now by the NFL. The NFL is the preeminent sport in America. But it's interesting because we hold those things kind of near and dear, those incredible records that Hank Aaron had, or that Ted Williams had, or things of that nature. And I don't know if baseball records matter to people anymore. I don't know if people look at them in the same way. I did get to see earlier this year, went over to Atlanta and got to see Spencer Strider, and he had the 16 strikeout game, which was awesome to see in person. Just mowed down the Rockies and beat John Smoltz's record. But it's interesting, and it's kind of, I think interesting to see how, when you can do a sports talk show like this, and I can put this topic out, and obviously not going to spend 3 hours on it, but 1 segment, 2 segments is all right. But you put this topic out just to see the reaction that it draws from people, and how it makes you feel when we talk about certain records like this, certain things that have happened. And, I don't know, because it happened last night. I saw it, late in the evening as I was trying to keep up with the Braves and to see if they would clinch the NL East. And you see it, and maybe there was a time in my life I'd have been, man, that's awesome. That's really cool. That's a neat thing. And last night I saw it, I was like, who cares? Who really care? It's, I guess the Maris family has to care. I guess they have to care. Maybe the Judge family has to care. Obviously, they want to care. I guess maybe if you're a Yankees fan, you're totally in on it. But outside of those those two families and that group of fans, does anybody really care? I think that's what we're at there with Major League Baseball. Just kind of interesting to talk about. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in this morning. Again, the other big news last night, the Atlanta Braves clinch the National League East Division Championship. Good for them. 5th straight National League East Division Championship. They'll be the number 2 seed coming up in the MLB postseason. They'll get the winner of the Phillies and the Cardinals, who will play a 3-game series in the National League wild card. We'll get back into some college football. If you want to weigh in on anything regarding Aaron Judge, baseball, or if you want to get back into some football, we'll do that. Heath Klein's set to join us in about 45 minutes. We'll talk with him. We'll also get you some more audio from Shane Beamer yesterday as he met with the media. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
It's our 15th anniversary, and without you, Columbia,
This might be a polka station by now.
Roll out the barrel. We'll have a barrel of fun.
our 15th anniversary celebration is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Weather feels fantastic. Feels great in the evening. A little chilly in the morning, but you know what? Whether it's the morning, whether it's the afternoon, whether really it's the evening, whenever it is, maybe going for a walk is something you want to do. Get out, get a little exercise, enjoy the cooler weather, and maybe you want to do it with your significant other. Maybe you want to have a meaningful, deep conversation after a great dinner, but you want to do it over a walk, but you can't because your ankles have been bothering your knees, your hips. You've had problems with arthritis, and you're just fed up. You want to get out in the yard and you want to throw the football with the kids. Maybe you want to go to a pumpkin patch. Maybe you want to go apple picking, but you've had problems recently. And you know what? People are telling you, hey, you need surgery. You need to take some addictive pain medications. You got to get some steroid shots. That's not true. You can try QC Kinetics. You can get real, lasting relief from joint pain. They are the nation's leader in this exciting new pain treatment with advanced regenerative medicine. It's a non-surgical alternative to getting yourself back to living the way you want. Call them today for a free consultation. I'm not even going to sit here and pretend to be a doctor. Don't call them. Find out how you can get back to living your life. 803-281-6860. Again, you can get a free consultation. Don't keep living with the pain that you're currently experiencing that's keeping you out of the apple picking business or the pumpkin patch or not being able to throw football outside with the kids or taking a walk with your significant other. Learn today how regenerative medicine can give you your life back with no drugs and no surgery. Call for that free consultation. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. Don't wait any longer. Find out what QC Kinetics can do for you today with a free consultation. 803-281-6860. That's QC Kinetics.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
All right, we have a couple things just to remind you about. I-26 eastbound at Broad River Road, that has been cleared, so no worries about that at this point, but might be moving just a little bit slowly as traffic flow gets back to normal. Highway 321 at Charleston Highway. We do have a disabled vehicle there. Again, could be impacting traffic flow just a little bit as people slow down to take a peek. Sunny and dry today, 76 for the high, 81 tomorrow, 84 on Friday. But chilly start, 49 right now at 107.5 The Game.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we've seen how terrible accidents turn lives upside down, and we're proud to be the lawyers our clients depend on during their toughest moments. I'm Jason Reynolds. Call me when your family is faced with any serious injury or death.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, I go to work, getting you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on. We have the experience and passion you need when you need it most.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 779-4000.
Hey, South Carolina. Scott here from Traditions with good news if you're in the market for an engagement ring or for diamond jewelry, because we have the largest selection you'll see anywhere in the Southeast. And whether you're in the market for a traditional mine diamond or for one of these amazing new lab-grown diamonds, we've got you covered. Because whether you're buying mined or lab, you'll be happy to know that at Traditions, we guarantee the trade-in value of both kinds of diamonds at our store. So if the day comes where you want an even bigger diamond, we'll be happy to give you full value you paid for your original when you trade it in. Even better, we have over 1,000 diamond rings in stock, so you'll get to try on pretty much every style imaginable. And if you still don't see exactly the right design, we'll be glad to custom make it for you. And yes, we have interest-free financing for qualified buyers. So come see us and get the ring of your dreams with a diamond of your choice, only at Traditions Fine Jewelers, South Carolina's diamond superstore and customization destination, on Sunset in Lexington and at the Fountain in Sand Hills, where the Midlands get engaged.
It's hunting season, and Shooter's Choice in West Columbia has everything you possibly want and then some at great prices, sold to you by a staff that is friendly and knowledgeable. Shooter's Choice in West Columbia is the place for you. Shooter's Choice has all you need for dove and deer season. Check out their great selection of hunting rifles, ARs, and much more, plus top-end accessories to complement your purchase. Make this the best hunting season ever with Shooter's Choice. Make it your first choice, your best choice. Shooter's Choice.
Hey, this is Ray and Nathan with Pope Davis Tire and Automotive.
When we say no tricks, only treats, we mean it.
At Pope Davis, we are literally handing out treats.
Until October 31st, buy any set of 4 Mastercraft tires, and we will give you a big bag of candy.
That is a treat. Wait, what if you get spooked by candy?
Well, Karen, then I've got a pumpkin spice candle for you.
He's dead serious.
Buy some tires, get some candy.
Or a pumpkin spice candle.
Only at Pope Davis Tire and Automotive.
Is your old car really scary? Are you frightened by how much you owe?
Gotta go to Galliano.
Galliana Kia on Greystone can get you out of your old car and into a new Kia with 0 down and 0 payments until next year. And we'll beat any price, anywhere in the USA. Send us a screenshot of the best price you can find, and Galliana Kia will sell it to you for less. New 2023 Kia Forte LXS, just $19,799. Sign and drive. Not a lease. You own it for $289 per month with 0 down and 0 payments until next year.
Gotta go to Galliana.
Galliana Kia on Greystone. I-126 Zoo exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or KiaColumbia.com. Reserve right to validate comparison price. Forte stock number 3K1513. 0 down, $289 per month for 84 months at 5.99% APR. Price plus tax tag includes $225 closing fee. Negative trade equity financed in new loan. Subject to lender approval. Expires with that.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
$7:37 on your Wednesday morning commute. I think a lot of people are, a lot of people, as Tyler says, don't care in 2022. Used to love to watch baseball and follow before MLB became pro wrestling with bats. A couple of you, Trent weighing in, says, I agree. I remember watching Bonds, McGuire, Sosa, and at least going in my mind, good for them. That's a heck of a job. I could care less about Aaron Judge breaking a record. And then Richard weighing in, you definitely don't have guys out there anymore that have a Sid Bream or Jeff Blauser body. Oof, boy, all these guys are pumped up. So a lot of you weighing in with you just don't care, except for one who says baseball fans care, says you don't care because you aren't a baseball fan. Well, that's not true. I'm a playoff baseball fan. I don't really give a rip about the other 162 games, but I love playoff baseball. He says, no baseball fans are divided on it in terms of the steroid issue, but it's a big deal. He out-homered the next closest guy by 20 homers. That hasn't happened since Babe Ruth. Also then tells me that Ted Williams doesn't have the batting average record. He's just the last guy to hit over 400. Okay, well, that happened in 1941, so it's kind of a long time ago. It's fine. It's not a record. It's a pretty cool stat. It's one that stood out. Maybe you didn't pay enough attention to stats growing up and get excited about some of them. But the bottom line there is that, look, whether you care or not care, we were inundated with Aaron Judge over the last 2 weekends. And I think, again, that national nightmare has finally come to a stop. Now you just get some fun Major League Baseball postseason, which, again, should be pretty entertaining. It'll start this coming Friday. Phillies, Cardinals, Padres, Mets, Tampa Bay, and Cleveland, Seattle, and Toronto are your 8 teams in the wild card. And again, if you haven't heard or seen the wild card, or excuse me, the playoff postseason, a little bit different this year. There's now 12 teams involved, 4 series that involve 4 matchups that involve 3-game series. The winners of those going on to the divisional series, where the Astros and the Yankees are the top 2 seeds in the American League, the Dodgers and the Braves, the top 2 seeds in the National League. So again, if you want to weigh in on baseball, certainly a lot of you very, very interested to see. Again, we don't talk a lot of baseball here on this particular show, but Mark actually weighing in said, why not talk about what a good dude Judge is, or the fact that the next closest guy is 20 off of 60? Mark is apparently a huge Yankees fan. I said Aaron Judge was a good guy. I was asking about the record, Mark. It's a sports talk baseball show, or a sports talk radio show. We were asking about a topic. You guys, baseball gets people fired up. Let's go back to a topic that doesn't get people fired up. Let's talk about South Carolina's offense. Nobody seems to really care about that. That's not something that people are all that worried about. South Carolina takes on Kentucky this coming Saturday night. Shane Beamer talking with the media yesterday and was talking about the importance of this game. Here's what Shane Beamer had to say regarding the importance of playing Kentucky Saturday night, what it can do for the program.
They're all important, and that's not coach speak. I mean, it's anytime you get back in the SEC, it's critical as well. And we've got great respect for their program, and this is a game that was a big game when I was here before. I remember, I think I talked about it last week, was the Kentucky coming in here nationally ranked on a Thursday night and us winning. And then all you guys that were here remember, I mean, we beat Alabama. They were number 1 in the country. And then I'm still having visions of Randall Cobb on 4th down or whatever it was on a game-winning touchdown pass. So, I mean, this game's always been competitive, and I think it's 2 programs that have a lot of respect, for each other. And it's certainly a critical game for us. It's the next one on the schedule. And we had a heck of a game with them last year and couldn't quite finish and get over the hump and win that game. And I know our guys are excited for the challenge this week.
As Shane Beamer again talking about this coming weekend's game against Kentucky. We'll continue talking about that coming up. Heath Klein set to join us at 8:15 this morning. We'll get his take on some of the things that Shane Beamer had to say, as well as his take on the game. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this morning. And please, by all means, the arguing on the text line, go to our live stream. You can argue with each other there. If you don't like something that somebody texted in, I'm not the middleman on that. I'm not reading the back and forth between arguing texters. You can go to our live stream and argue with each other there, as long as you keep it nice and clean. Go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click join, subscribe. Barry weighs in. Baseball hasn't been America's pastime for quite some time. Maris has not held the single season home run record, so Judge didn't break any record. Again, go to our live stream. Go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click join, subscribe, be a part of the live stream where York, Chuck, Jim, Maria, Larry, Juan, Roger, they're all in there. There's a bunch of people in there. You can go be a part of it there and argue back and forth with each other as we do a Sports Talk morning show. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 1075 The Game.
1075 The Game's 15th anniversary rewind.
2009.
Michael Jackson dies at the age of 50. The movie Avatar is released. It'll go on to break many box office records. U.S. Airways Flight 1549 is struck by geese, forcing a crash landing on the Hudson River by pilot Sully Sullenberger. All 155 people on board survived. At Carolina, the football team went 7-6 and lost the Papa John's Bowl to UConn. The men's basketball team finished 21-10 in Coach Darren Horn's first year. The women's hoop squad completed Coach Don Staley's first season 10-18. And the baseball team went 40-23 and advanced to the NCAA regionals.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 1075 The Game is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
Charging a cell phone can be like getting a booster shot. A booster is given to enhance or restore protection after a primary series vaccination, which wanes over time. Schedule an appointment when you are eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Life matters. Wild West sharpshooter Annie Oakley was doing a show in Berlin when a prominent local citizen challenged her to shoot the ashes off his cigarette. Though a little hungover from the night before, Annie took aim and fired. Ashes flew off the tip of the cigarette, which was being smoked by none other than Kaiser Wilhelm of Germany, the chief instigator of World War I. If I had shot the Kaiser, I might have saved the lives of millions of soldiers, she said. I guess the idea of murder didn't bother her, and Annie lived with that regret for a long time. During the war, her husband wrote Kaiser Wilhelm, saying that Annie would like the chance to take a second shot at it. Wilhelm never responded. Well, obviously, we don't condone violence, but we all have regrets about something less severe. Live life with good choices so that regret isn't part of the baggage we have to carry. This is Stephen Chitty reminding you that life matters, and so do you. Go to clcolumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service times.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial
Okay. I think we're settling down some.
See all that Midstate has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com.
It's a good question. All the good questions are being asked this morning.
Attention, anyone shopping for a new Jeep, turn up your radio now. Announcing the special order $1 sales event at Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone. Here's how it works. Visit Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone and order the exact Jeep you want. Put just $1 down. Plus, we'll give you a $1,000 special order discount. No limitations, no exclusions. Just order any Jeep model, any Jeep trim level, any Jeep yours for just $1 down and $1,000 off MSRP. Best of all, your price is locked in and you're protected against a Jeep price increase. Other Jeep dealers are charging tens of thousands of dollars over MSRP. Order the exact Jeep you want for just $1 down and $1,000 below MSRP. $1 down, $1,000 below MSRP Jeep sales event at Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone, I-126 Suex in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or GallianaSC.com. Example 2022 Jeep Wrangler, $1 down, $618 per month for 60 months at 4% APR plus tax and tag includes 245 closing. Expires right now.
Hey, Gamecock. Scott here with Gamecock Traditions.
Oh, boy.
I encourage you to stop what you're doing and go to GamecockTraditions.com to sign up for our emails located at the bottom of the home page. Our emails come to you a couple of times a week, and they're always the first place you'll hear about store specials, promotions, and new products. The last few weeks, people have gotten 50% off Under Armour products, and also been the first to see some of the brand new fashions, sometimes selling out before we can advertise anywhere else. Please take a moment to sign up today. I'll guarantee you'll be glad you did.
This update is sponsored by AAA Heating and Air, home of the $1,500 buyback. AAA Heating and Air must clear out its warehouse before new government efficiency regulations go into effect in 2023. No deals will be turned down. Call today to get a new unit tomorrow. 803-677-1500.
All right. Where are we at?
It is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see.
I'll call for number 6. I'll call for it, okay? For number 6. I'll call for it, yeah.
Here the Game, 1075
$803-404-6100. That's how you can weigh in this morning, as several of y'all are doing on several different topics. Nathan weighing in as we were talking to baseball says, I know that the only people I know that actually care about baseball are the guys leading the halftime show, and I actually don't know them. So that is several of you. No, baseball, look, now this time of year, we'll get into the playoffs. It'll be a lot of fun, and we'll get invested in that. Coming up this weekend, something that everybody would be invested in, Boston College hosting Clemson and Kentucky hosting South Carolina. The Gamecocks trying to break an 8-game SEC road losing streak. And Shane Beamer talked about yesterday what they need to do to play well on the road. Here's Shane Beamer yesterday talking to the media. And winning the explosive play battle, do that and play well. But I feel like we're a mature team that has handled that. We showed some maturity last week, handling the short week, and it's going to be critical for us to be mature, resilient, composed, physical, all that stuff in order to win on the road.
That last one right there, physical. I think that that's an interesting comment. SEC football is labeled up there as the most physical conference in the country. That's the supposed SEC grind that SEC teams brag about, that it's a reason why SEC teams, South Carolina has looked at Clemson in years past and said, this is why you would not have the same record in our conference as you do in the ACC, because on a week in, week out basis, it's just more physical. And all football is physical. I don't think just because you go to the ACC that they're lining up and hitting any softer, but there is a level there of being physical that South Carolina really is not matched in several years. You heard Will Muschamp really preach, put your face in the fan. Remember that? Oh, goodness. And the level of Will Muschamp trying to build a physical football team. That's what he wanted. He wanted a physical football team. And there were times, look, I've said it, that game against Georgia, the last time South Carolina won on the road against Georgia in 2019, South Carolina's line of scrimmage that day was very good. And I guess that's one you chalk up and say, yes, they were physical. That was what you have to do. But by and large, the last 5 games that South Carolina's gone on the road, and if you want to really throw it in 6 and say East Carolina as well, but I was talking about SEC games, South Carolina's come out and really kind of been dominated at the point of attack, offensive line, defensive line, on the road. And obviously it's happened at home at times as well. But when you look at it, that is a point on Saturday night. South Carolina for once needs to come out, and whether it's getting the ball first and running it, or whether it's getting a stop defensively and stopping Chris Rodriguez and the run, South Carolina needs to assert a level of physical play early on. Because too often, and to me, 803-404-6100, you can chime in on this. Too often to me, South Carolina has come out, and for lack of a better word, it's kind of been punked in the first half. Just some team lines up and punches them in the mouth, and it takes South Carolina really about 30 minutes, 40 minutes of game time to kind of bounce back. It's the old Mike Tyson line. Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And South Carolina seems to have a great plan and then gets punched in the mouth, and it takes 30 to 40 minutes in these road games. Again, I mentioned, and somebody said, why are you bringing up games pre-Shane Beamer? And I get that. It's a fair thing. My point on why I've mentioned South Carolina's 4-14 since 2018 on the road is because these players have been around for a while, and I think you do learn how to handle a road crowd, how you learn. They're talking with enough players these days. There is a level of having to learn how to travel. By now, South Carolina's been to Arkansas. So most of these players, I would assume, I don't know if South Carolina's taking anybody new, but, there is a level of guys having to learn how to get on a plane. Some people think it's stupid. They're generally speaking, I've talked to Shane Beamer about this. I actually talked to G.A. Mangus about this one time. I talked to a couple other coaches. Like, there is a level where you take some kids on a plane as a freshman, and it's their first time flying anywhere, and it's an experience. I remember one coach telling me, we got off the flight and got a kid calling back home, and he's like terrified because of the landing, and he's calling his mom and dad, telling him he's never flying again. And he was a starting wide receiver. I'm not going to give names of whom or what, but there is a level of going on the road, flying, going to your hotel, waking up that morning in a different day, and going and playing against competition. And South Carolina does not have players who have had success going and doing this. And that's why I go back, but also coming out of the gate, the 5 SEC road games that South Carolina has played, Shane Beamer and his staff, at the end of the first quarter, last year against Georgia, better team, right? Better team, but South Carolina's down 14-6. On the road at Tennessee, South Carolina was down 28-0. On the road at Texas A&M, South Carolina was down 14-0. They did go on the road to Missouri and were up 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. And Arkansas, again, at the end of the first quarter this year, they were down 7-3, and Arkansas was driving. That line from Shane Beamer there about going out and being physical, South Carolina's got to show up, and when the ball is kicked, they've got to be ready to go. And, whether it's on the players, whether it's on the coaching staff, one or the other, you've got to come out from the opening snap. And I think you're going to know, unfortunately, what history tells me looking at the 5 games of the Shane Beamer era. I think you're going to have a pretty good idea of this game within the first 8 to 10 minutes. If Kentucky gets the ball and just marches right down the field, it's hard stopping Chris Rodriguez. You feel like that's going to be a bad start. If South Carolina comes out, can't run the football, doesn't try to run the football, tries throwing it around, oh, that's a bad start too. We'll talk more about this. Heath Klein due up coming up here at 8:15 this morning. We'll catch up with him. We'll get more of your thoughts, text, calls, tweets, whatever. It's the early game, 107.5 The Game.
Celebrating our 15th anniversary is Columbia's Sports Talk Station, sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
107.5 The Game.
A Cumulus media station.
Credit call 866-243-4623 for details. JT's Jeep Ram has the largest Jeep inventory anywhere. When other dealers are charging thousands over, you save thousands at JT's and get 1.9% financing. Bumps or even craters in your credit? Forget it. When other dealers say no, JT says yes, you're approved. Drive the Jeep or Ram of your dreams. Get 1.9% financing and let JT get you approved. JT's Jeep Ram Lexington. JT'sJeep.com.
This football season and every football season, come to campus and catch a game. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game. Find your tickets online at GamecocksOnline.com.
Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning, the most trusted and reviewed cleaning company in town. Take advantage of their fall sale going on now. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. Easily schedule your cleaning online at ZeroResColumbia.com.
If you have tax problems and want to end the frustration of dealing with the IRS, grab a pen and take down this number. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm, located right here in the Midlands. Let us show you what it takes to solve your tax problems once and for all. The first step, which can be one of the hardest, is to take action. Do something. Call me, set an appointment, and meet with me in person. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll show you how to take control of the problem. So if you haven't filed your tax returns for years or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, John Ecton, at 803-771-9800. That's 803-7...
All right. We got...
UCTON lawfirm.com. Learn what it takes to solve your tax problems for good. Take that first step to a better future. Call me.
Wouldn't it be great if you could remodel the kitchen, bedroom, and bath before the holidays and not break the holiday budget? I'm Eddie Springer of Trey Cow Builders, and with us, it's easy.
Well, the downside is I forgot to bring my water bottle in today, so I'm trying to speak off of coffee, which I feel like coffee's heavier and start to slur a little bit.
Quality from start to finish. Tractors have become the go-to tractor for landowners and farmers.
All right.
Tractors, large and small. Shop and compare tractors right on site. Manual transmissions, four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, front-end loaders, and more. Come in today for the products, service, parts, and accessories to help you work smart, not harder. Carolina Power Equipment, 2490 Charleston Highway in Casey, Florida is CarolinaPowerEquipment.com.
As a business owner, it's important your customers have the best experience possible. That includes a convenient place to park. Schroeder's Towing can help keep your lot and designated spaces available. The last thing you want is your customers to go somewhere else simply because they have no place to park. Schroeder's offers free signage to deter unwanted parking and removal of abandoned vehicles. They have your back 24/7. Schroeder's Towing. 1,100 5-star Google reviews can't be wrong. 772-7930. 772-7930.
Schroeder's Towing. Best suckers in town.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Love Chevy, I-26 in Harrison, and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. It's time for your chance to win $100 and qualify for the $25,000 grand prize in our $25,000.
Coin, C-O-I-N, coin. Again, it's C-O-I-N, coin.
Text that national keyword to 95819. Standard text messaging rates may apply. Please don't text and drive. A $25,000 signing bonus contest on 107.5 The Game.
The early game with Bill Gunter.
So we have Bill doing some housekeeping right now. Pretty fantastic. I'm like, little to the left, little to the left, little to the right, up a little bit more.
Decorating the studio at 6:37 in the morning. You're listening to Bill Gunter and Jensen. If you're watching the live stream,
seeing us entertain ourselves by trying
a flag around and get it stuck to the wall, and that led to.
But then the right was down a little bit. It's like you gotta get it level.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
You're not gonna believe this.
107.5.
He killed 16 Czechoslovakians. Guy was an interior decorator.
The Game.
Guy was an interior decorator. Not what they say about me around here, but that was still Pine Barrens. If you've never seen The Sopranos, if you only watch one episode of The Sopranos, Pine Barrens would be one of the ones you need to watch, and that is where Paulie there, that line comes from. Probably one of the favorite openers we've ever had here on the show, or at least that I've ever had. 803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program this morning, as we don't like to be the controversial, yell at each other. I mean, it's really just Jen and I, and she yells enough at me as it is, but I don't like to be the controversial show where people get all riled up. I don't want to send you to work at 8:15 already fired up over something you heard over the radio, and you go in and take it out on some poor unsuspecting coworker who was just minding their own business, trying to have their coffee, or you get in the car and all of a sudden you hear something on sports talk radio that just fires you up. Next thing you know, you're yelling at the kids. That's not my goal. I like to keep it lighthearted, like to keep it a little energetic, but you start talking, I guess, Major League Baseball and how South Carolina plays on the road, and you guys get fired up. A lot of y'all so far. Let's see the baseball stuff. Rick weighs in on our live stream and says, Judge's record means nothing. It was just an American League and Yanks thing. In a world of a hit, a home run, or a strikeout, he had a ton more strikeouts than Maris. And then Maria on the football, talking about South Carolina opening the game, says, I think so much is mental. We need to decide we are stronger before we walk on the field and be convinced we will prove it. Confidence and conviction. Now, a lot of you weighing in this morning on several different topics. So again, we've talked about the home run record there. Obviously, all Aaron Judge broke was the American League record last night, surpassing Roger Maris. So technically the Yankee record and the American League record. But my question was just more so, I think a lot of our listeners, I know some of you are younger, some of you have hit me up, but a lot of our listeners are closer to my age, in this age range. I'm still kind of in the middle of it, being at 40 years old. But what did it mean? What does the home run record mean anymore? A couple of you weighing in, Roger weighing in on Twitter. You can go and look at this at 107.5 The Game, at Will Gunner, at Jen Jensen Morris. Roger saying, yes, the home run record does matter. What does not matter is the steroid era for both pitchers and hitters. In my opinion, Aaron Judge set the Major League Baseball home run record last night. Everyone else, including pitching accomplishments, Roger Clemens, should be listed, but only with the dreaded asterisk. A couple of y'all weighing in. Chuck saying it means nothing to me. I don't know. It's just the only reason I bring it up is because growing up, the baseball record meant something. That was a like, I don't know if as you grew up and you got into sports, if there was a magical record, a number or something that you would pretend that you were, beating in the backyard, whether, it was most points in an NBA game, or again, playing wiffle ball with your buddy. I don't know, the home run derby stuff that we used to do with wiffle balls. I guess the bottom line is that was a big one. And I don't know, last night and really the last few weeks, the way we've kind of been inundated with Aaron Judge cut-ins, I thought it made for an interesting topic of discussion, and apparently it is one that touches quite a nerve with a lot of you. So hopefully everybody's doing all right this morning. And then on top of that, Greg says, Bill, you're just getting everyone prepared for Pearson's show. He enjoys the negativity. Go Braves. That was actually the big story last night. The Braves, they clinched their 5th consecutive National League East Division championship with a win over the Florida Marlins. The part that, like, we're not shocked that the Braves won, right? That's not the surprise, is that the Braves won the National League East. You kind of thought maybe that would happen at the beginning of the season. The surprise is they did it in the manner that they did, struggling in April and May, being 10.5 games down on June 1, and coming back the sweep this past weekend over the Mets. Absolutely phenomenal. So we've talked a little baseball there. We've talked obviously some college football. A couple of y'all weighing in on this. Papa Joe, when talking about teams coming out, being ready to go, says, is this not having to do with coaching, having your guys ready? And yeah, I mean, how you motivate. I think South Carolina fans, more than any, have seen the different motivational styles over the last decade, going back to Steve Spurrier, who, you know, you've heard Sean Elliott tell that famous story now about they're going to play Florida for the SEC Eastern Division title down in the Swamp in 2010. And they have the team meeting. It's a night game. They have the team meeting, the kind of the walkthrough, the breakfast and everything. And they get everything done. Sean Elliott goes back to his room, says he's just fired up. He's geared up. He's ready to go play the football game. He's ready to put on the pads. He's pacing in his hotel room, and he sees a shirtless older man laying out by the pool. And upon further inspection, it turns out to be Steve Spurrier, just chilling, hanging out by the pool a few hours before the game, before they take the bus ride over. Spurrier was the most calm and relaxed guy. He knew that his game plan was ready to go. He knew that his team was ready to go, and he took the approach of this is how we're going to go about doing it. There's the documentary on Spurrier. Right? There's two of them, and I can't remember which one it's in, where they interview Bob Stoops as well. And it's prior to Florida going to play Tennessee in a really big game in 95 or 96. And Florida had a bye week, and Tennessee's playing. And Spurrier took all the coaches to his beach house in Destin, and they're all just hanging out. They're doing a little getting ready. They're doing things, but Bob Stoops says that they're out there floating around in the ocean and having a few drinks and just hanging out. And this is the week prior, so it's going into the bye week. And Bob Stoops says, Spurrier looks around and goes, what y'all think those Tennessee boys are doing right now? You think they're out there relaxing and hanging out on the beach? Spurrier was the most laid-back, relaxed coach, and South Carolina fans got to see that. You know, they got to see how that winning mentality approached not just games, but big games as well. And then you honestly got to see the complete 180 polar opposite of that in Will Muschamp, who openly admitted that if it was a night game, they had to kind of keep players away from him because he got so fired up and so intense and was so ready to go. So, where Shane Beamer fits in that, I think we're still learning. I think Shane, obviously, I think we know Shane is an ultra positive guy, but where Shane fits in that spectrum, I think is we're still learning, but certainly coming out of the gate, because, you can be positive, you can be negative, but the numbers are hard to argue with. South Carolina on the road under Shane Beamer in SEC play, 0-5, but the numbers that stand out of those 5 games, 4 of them, the defense has given up 40 or more points. In 4 of them, South Carolina, in 4 of them, South Carolina has failed to score a touchdown in the first quarter. And in those 4, South Carolina has trailed at the end of the first quarter, 14-6, 28-0, 14-0, and 7-3. Things have to change out of the gate. That's a big part of it. 803-404-6100. Kyle wants to weigh in this morning. Kyle, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Yeah, but just a couple points. With regards to Dawn Staley, I saw this morning where she was being honored by some organization for her achievements in basketball. But I think it's a little bit ridiculous to be honoring Dawn Staley at this point in time, considering the fact that she has recently demonstrated what I think anybody could recognize as clear religious bigotry.
All right, hold up, stop. Kyle, football. I wasn't talking, Dawn. I appreciate you calling in, but that's not, okay. I don't even know where you're going with that.
I mean, she
Kyle,
clearly.
Kyle, do you have a thought on the football game this weekend?
Want to talk about football?
Yes, go ahead.
Shane Beamer, and I think he's a fine guy. I really, truly do. I do think he's a little bit in over his head, and I think that the Gamecocks missed an opportunity the last time they did a football hiring by trying to go for a hot name, which they've had some success in the past with Lou Holtz and Steve Spurrier and that sort of thing. But by going after a name and trying to win the initial press conference, which a lot of schools do this in order to make sure that they maintain some motivation as far as season ticket sales and whatnot. But instead of doing that, I think the Gamecocks would have been better suited. Maybe instead of going after a hot name, going after a football coach that has some experience winning at a place that's harder to succeed at. And I think they would have had a great opportunity to do that by hiring someone like Dave Clawson from Wake Forest or Jamie Chadwell from Coastal, and they could have hired either one of those guys easily. And probably on the short term, it wouldn't have been as hot a name, but in the long term, I think they would have seen more success. And I'm afraid, just looking at the numbers and the way that the trend is going, they're going to be in that situation again in a couple of years where they're going to end up firing Beamer and have to go down that road once again. And I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Appreciate it. Yeah, as long as that I can live with. We will definitely open. Whether you agree with Kyle on that or not, I have no problem with Kyle's opinion as long as you stick to the topic we're discussing. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. It's an opinionated show. Just let's go with the topic. There's a million different ways South Carolina could have gone. That I don't disagree with. I think I personally would have never hired Jamie Chadwell. That's not the hire I would have gone with. Not enough time to go into that. Dave Clawson, certainly you see what he's done. Well-respected guy. I'll be interested to see if his name is more involved in some of the hirings now. We now know that there's 5 of them that are open, and it'll certainly be interesting. But right now, Shane Beamer's the head coach, and he's got an opportunity to prove himself. He's got an opportunity to prove himself not just this weekend by showing if the team is ready to go and if they have a good game plan. He's got an opportunity to continue to prove himself. You look at the games on the schedule, and I don't think Texas A&M is all that scary in 2 weeks. Or 3 weeks. I guess Missouri is not all that scary. Vanderbilt. There's some great opportunities for South Carolina the next few weeks, and Shane Beamer and this team have the chance to prove to people what they are about. And at that point, then we can go from there. But look, Shane, we're quick to forget at times that last year, there wasn't a whole lot expected out of that football team, and they manufactured. You can say, well, Florida wasn't ready, and Auburn wasn't ready. Shoot, it wasn't like South Carolina was an All-American team last year. Florida and Auburn were still more talented, whether they showed up with having already quit or not. South Carolina was not exactly some juggernaut. They still found a way to win. South Carolina last year was a team that had very little offensive talent, a couple good players here and there, but you have to give credit where credit's due, and that's to Shane Beamer for being able to pull out an above 500 season last year. Again, the next 4 games, next 5 weeks, give Shane plenty of time to prove a lot of people that maybe are questioning, much like Kyle, wrong. So we'll kind of continue to see where it goes from there. 803-404-6100. I have no problem with the rest of Kyle's call, but we've talked baseball. If he wanted to go off on Aaron Judge or PEDs or anything, I would have let him go. We're not talking. I'm actually not talking any basketball at all this morning. Jordan Butler actually expected to make a announcement today, 4-star recruit out of the upstate. Maybe I should mention that a little bit. 803-404-6100. Heath Klein joins us next. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game
is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game and the new 107.5 The Game app.
This is Boomer Science with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by Big Green Egg. Shop online for free home delivery at BigGreenEgg.com. Jacksonville's Trevor Lawrence is running penalty laps this week to atone for 4 fumbles and a pick. Pittsburgh's Kenny 3-pick Pickett can learn from Lawrence. Neither quarterback should fear Detroit's atrocious defense, also logging punishment miles this week. And John Harbaugh, even Super Bowl winning coaches make mistakes. I'm Boomer Science.
CBS Sports Radio.
Hey, Jim Rome here. If you want to experience the unmatched flavor of natural live fire grilling, then look no further than the Big Green Egg. Forget the pellets, the propane, the knockoffs. Roll with the best. An authentic Big Green Egg grill backed by a free lifetime warranty. Yes, lifetime. It's that good. Grill, roast, smoke, or bake. It is easy to light. It's simple to use. Shop online for free home delivery at BigGreenEgg.com. That's delivery to your door by a dealer in your community. Go to BigGreenEgg.com.
Get what you want and pay over time when you use your Lowe's Advantage card. Now through October 26, 2022. Ask for 0% APR with 36 fixed monthly payments on a product installation or appliance purchase of $1,000 or more. Shop for the appliances you want in-store or online. Or go to the store nearest you for installation. Now at Lowe's. Offer subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store at Lowe's.com for details. U.S. only.
Sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance, where you only pay for what you need. Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need. Visit libertymutual.com to learn more.
The approved credit, call 866-243-4623 for details. JT's Jeep Ram has the largest Jeep inventory anywhere. When other dealers are charging thousands over, you save thousands at JT's and get 1.9% financing. Bumps or even craters in your credit? Forget it. When other dealers say no, JT says yes, you're approved. Drive the Jeep or Ram of your dreams. Get 1.9% financing and let JT get you approved. JT's Jeep Ram Lexington. JT'sJeep.com.
Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning, the most trusted and reviewed cleaning company in town. Take advantage of their fall sale going on now. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 1075 The Game. Easily schedule your cleaning online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
Hi, my husband and I own a small business in Columbia, and we ended up needing some help with some tax problems that we had and needed to get resolved. We initially owed about $300,000, and John Ecton and his law firm ended up getting us an offer in compromise, which dramatically reduced the amount owed. I would personally recommend the Ecton law firm. They did an excellent job for us, and if this is a concern that you're facing, they're definitely the people you should call.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, it's Terry Ford from 1075 The Game with our buddy Adam Vance from Sound and Images. Okay, Adam, we all know
Sound and Images as an events company, but you're more than that, aren't you? We are a commercial audiovisual installation company. And what does that mean? That means that we can come into your business, we can help you assess what you have, what you need, where you want to go. We're really big on video conferencing systems. BYOD, as they say, go on your own device, connect wirelessly, connect with ease.
If you want to reach out to Adam Vance, just go to soundandimages.net or call 803-791-3925.
Get out of here, Casey. Just go out of here. Just get out of here. That's a stupid comment by you two. We're talking, you talk the topics. That's dumb.
Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
$803-404.
If you want to talk about the topics I'm discussing, you can text in if you want to weigh in on anything else. So I appreciate Kyle's thoughts on the football, though. That was he wanted to weigh in, and certainly I see where Casey and C-Ben on our live stream agree with him on his football thoughts. 803-404-6100. Heath Klein coming up here in just a few minutes. Let's go back out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Brian is up next this morning. Brian, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing okay today. How are you doing?
Man, this is a fun job. It's a fun job. You never know what you're going to get every morning. I'm doing good.
Well, what's going on? Everyone's angry. I mean, you can go over to the Dunkin' Donuts in Casey and get in line. First 100 people at 9 o'clock get free coffee for a year. The sun's shining. Everything's great. Why is everyone so angry?
This home run record, buddy. People are fired up. Aaron Judge, baseball. South Carolina can't get off to a fast start in football. It's grumpy.
I'm telling you right now. Here, the problem isn't with the record. The problem is with this.
Right.
ESPN was like, let's do these live cut-ins because they're thinking he's going to hit it like the next day, and then it goes on and on and on, and they're like, oh crap, well we're in too deep. We got to keep doing this. If he had hit it the next day, no one would have a problem with it.
You were probably 100% correct on that. If we could have just moved past it, it probably no. It's interesting. I think Aaron Judge is doing everything the right way, and then certainly I'll say it again. And you've grown up. You were a big Red Sox fan. You love baseball. Everybody, when it comes to baseball, people very, very opinionated about the home run record and things that happened with baseball in the 90s and the 2000s, and it brings out the best, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I'll say this. As a Red Sox fan, I'm not. I can never pull for a Yankee. I think one time I was hoping that the game that they played after 9/11, I wouldn't say I was rooting for them, but I wasn't rooting against them openly. But other than that, what Judge did this year, I think is good for the game. I think he's a good ambassador, and I think it does mean something. I remember being a kid when Cecil Fielder hit 50 home runs. It was like the most unbelievable thing in the world. And then that whatever summer that was with Sosa and McGuire. I mean, that was fun. That was real fun. But in hindsight, no one ever got close, and then all of a sudden they're just rocketing past it. Something was going on. But I think it does mean something. I don't know if I call him the all-time leader or not, but if you have hit more home runs in a single season than any other New York Yankee, that's pretty good.
That I can agree with, buddy. Appreciate you calling in this morning and keeping us updated on the Dunkin' Donuts situation. There will be a visit there after that. Hope you're doing well.
Yep.
Take care.
There you go.
That's our good buddy, Brian Glenn, bringing a little levity to the program and keeping you updated on the coffee situation out there. Let's stay on the Love Chevy phone lines, but go out to the one and only Heath Klein, who has been flying all over. Heath, earlier we wondered if you were actually some kind of CIA operative flying back in to make sure you're ready to do your radio program this morning after a night overseas taking out, James Bond villains.
Oh, man, I wish it was that exciting, but I had to take care of a couple of things down on the home front in Tampa, just some quick business stuff. So nothing very exciting, just a chance to get down there really quick, get some errands done, and get back.
Well, let's kind of get real quick the topic I've been talking about just real quick because I want to get into other stuff with you, but I know you put out a couple tweets about it. Aaron Judge last night, because like Casey on our live stream says, who cares about the 7th most home runs of all time? Only Yankees fans. Heath, we got inundated with live cut-ins. That's kind of why I brought it up, asking like what the home run record in baseball means. It used to. You're an old school sports guy. The baseball record used to mean something. A home run record meant something, and I don't know if it does anymore. I think Casey on our live stream sums it up perfectly that I don't know if anybody cares anymore. And that's why the last, 2 weekends as you're trying to watch your college football game might have been a little painful because we got live cut-ins to every Aaron Judge sneeze.
Well, it was an insult to everybody. I mean, it's just the arrogance of saying, we don't care what you're watching. I mean, sure, you could have watched this somewhere else and chose not to. We're telling you, you're too dumb to get what a big deal this is. You want to hear penalties announced in the football game you're watching. Who cares when you could hear Michael K call the game? I mean, that's the kind of crap that it's just arrogance. It's stupidity. I don't think anybody has a problem with the idea that it matters that the guys hit 62 home runs. It's a cool thing. It's an accomplishment. It should have meant so much more. But the arrogance of basically saying, we don't care what you chose to watch. We're going to take that audio away and shrink the product down to show you something, particularly in week 2, where it's very clear the response was, we don't want this. And he just said, no, you're going to get it anyway. How you like them apples? I mean, it's arrogance. It's stupidity and it's arrogance that they never did actually accomplish their goals. So all the way around a total failure. But it's a shame, Bill. This should have been a big deal. They should have. The trouble is that they allowed the steroid era to completely hijack the record book. And so now nothing matters. And the other part of it is, too, look, I have no reason to believe that Aaron Judge has done anything wrong. But because of what we saw happen, you're always going to have a segment of people who just are like, yeah, maybe the guy's clean, but how would I know? And so they just don't care anymore.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think to me, it's just more of because he didn't break the actual home run record. He broke the American League home run record and by extension, the Yankees record. But it's just one of those things where the way we were forced to watch it, and then it just kind of makes me wonder. Baseball was past tense, was America's pastime. Now it's America's pastime, I guess, is NFL, right? I mean, we're on the same board. Major League Baseball is not there anymore, but there was a time in the 90s and definitely in the 80s and 70s where that Roger Maris, that number 61 was celebrated. Every little kid growing up knew what the number 61 meant.
Yeah, no, there was a time where it was a huge deal. There's a reason 1998 played out the way that it did, but the problem is that by basically saying we're going to put the home run record on a credit card right now, we need something to make up for the people we lost in 1994 with the strike. So we're just going to go ahead and kind of have a binge of fun here in 1998. They put it on a credit card, and now they paid for it by having what should have been a really big deal be somewhat important. I mean, it's not like it was ignored, but it would have been totally different if this had been the first serious, legit run at 60. It would, in years, it would have been a huge deal. And instead, again, it devolved into something less than it should have been, and it's a shame. But again, look at what's going on with Albert Pujols too, Bill. I mean, Bill, did you pay any attention to that? Were you dialed in on Pujols trying to get 700? That means something to you?
No. And that would have meant that would have meant just because I've always liked Albert Pujols and I again, I'm kind of like you. I hate that we have to say I think that he stands for all the right things in the game. I think so. But no, that actually would have been far more interesting to me than and nothing against Aaron Judge. I like Aaron Judge. And again, I think he stands for the right things. And I'll be interested to see free agency in the offseason and what kind of a ridiculous contract he commands. But yeah, the Albert Pujols thing definitely would have been more interesting to keep up or to have shown more often, if that makes sense. I do look at ESPN.com and watch SportsCenter and those things, so I knew what was going on, I should say. But it certainly was not something I woke up every morning going, "Ooh, I wonder what happened in the Cardinals game last night."
No, and look, he's on a chase to get to 700, and he hit more homers than he's hit in the last 5 years, basically combined. And so, what did you get? Instead of getting people enjoying the moment, you had people saying, "I wonder." And that's the thing they've done to themselves is it's basically impossible for anyone to accomplish something that involves power now without at least a portion of the population saying, "I wonder." And that's the price they're going to have to pay for what they did in 98.
We will talk some college football with Heath. I'll throw these numbers at him. We'll kind of go back and forth as to how we see South Carolina and Kentucky coming up Saturday night, 7:30. You're listening to Heath Klein, Bill Gunner. He's Ed Bird back behind the producer studio. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
It's our 15th anniversary, and without you, Columbia,
this might be a polka station by now.
Roll out the barrel. We'll have a barrel of fun.
our 15th anniversary celebration is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Credit call 888-411-7640 for details. JT's Dodgeland has the largest Ram, Charger, and Challenger inventory anywhere. When other dealers are charging thousands over, you save thousands at JT's and get 1.9% financing. Bumps or even craters in your credit? Forget it. When other dealers say no, JT says yes, you're approved. Drive the Ram, Charger, or Challenger of your dreams. Get 1.9% financing and let JT get you approved. Dodgeland on Greystone, jtsdodge.com.
You haven't tasted real Carolina barbecue until you've experienced Little Pigs Barbecue. Full-service dine-in buffet with barbecue ribs, brisket, chicken, rice, hash, tomato pie, macaroni and cheese, and many more of your favorites. Eat in or take out. Little Pigs Barbecue on Alpine Road is open from 11 to 2 on Wednesday, 11 to 8 Thursday through Saturday, and 11 to 3 on Sunday. Little Pigs Barbecue on Alpine Road. Little Pigs family looks forward to seeing you soon. It's hunting season, and Shooter's Choice in West Columbia has everything you possibly want and then some at great prices, sold to you by a staff that is friendly and knowledgeable. Shooter's Choice in West Columbia is the place for you.
Second round. They got it technically the second round. They got a first round bye. Got to remember they got a first round bye. I do agree he's a great representative, and again, I agree that there was an over the top coverage of what happened on that. I do agree with that. What a more! I didn't realize baseball can make people this fired up. It's been an eye-opening radio show.
But over time, they also find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Nearly 3 million device users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying things like "best product I've ever used" and "amazing, I love my Navage." That's because Navage helps you breathe, sleep deeper, and snore less. But the biggest payoff is improved health.
What a morning!
Navage is good personal hygiene and it's going to help you feel healthy. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
Hey, South Carolina, Scott here from Tradition. The good news, if you're in the market for an engagement ring or for diamond jewelry, because we have the largest selection you'll see anywhere in the Southeast. And whether you're in the market for a traditional mine diamond or for one of these amazing new lab-grown diamonds, we've got you covered. Because whether you're buying mined or lab, you'll be happy to know that at Tradition, we guarantee the trade-in value of both kinds of diamonds at our store. So if the day comes where you want an even bigger diamond, we'll be happy to give you full value you pay for your original when you trade it in. Even better, we have over 1,000 diamond rings in stock, so you'll get to try on pretty much every style imaginable. And if you still don't see exactly the right design, we'll be glad to custom make it for you. And yes, we have interest-free financing for qualified buyers. So come see us and get the ring of your dreams with a diamond of your choice, only at Tradition's Fine Jewelers, South Carolina's diamond superstore and customization destination, on Sunset in Lexington and at the Fountain in Sand Hill, where the Midlands give and get.
There's just something different about Medicine Mart of West Columbia. My name is Eric Bone.
It's true. I'm with you on that. That's a good way to sum it up. That's a good way to sum it up. Oh, what a morning. It's been a good show, though. It's the first time, I mean, Heath's on now, but it's the first time we've really done a show. It's actually pretty funny, too. Yeah, the 15th anniversary. You know, the way we've designed the show with having so many voices and so many guests, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've done basically a 3-hour show or kind of like this. We had Brad on earlier, but where I've kind of turned it over to the audience. And I think when people say, you know, why don't you take more calls? Why don't you take more calls? I think we see now why we at times some are good, some not so much. But that's the fun. All right. $8:35 on your Wednesday morning. Bill Gunner, Heath Klein joining us as he does each and every Wednesday. I want to tell you to keep listening for a chance to win tickets to the South Carolina Brewers' first annual Best of South Carolina Craft Beer Festival. It'll be Saturday, October 15th, 2 to 5 p.m., 800 Gervais Street in the Vista. For more information on tickets, visit Eventbrite or scbeer.org. So continue listening for a chance to win tickets to the South Carolina Brewers' first annual Best of South Carolina Craft Beer Festival. And again, that'll be Saturday, October 15th, 2 to 5 p.m. down on Gervais Street. Back out to Heath Klein, who joins us as he does each and every Wednesday to do a little cross segment here. Heath and I used to get in the pregame booth down there at Williams-Brice Stadium and he's taller than me, so he's got the reach on me, so we would never slap or punch, but we would disagree occasionally. But, one of the things I think we can agree on, Heath, Saturday night, one thing that has to happen is South Carolina has to come out of the gate a lot faster than what they've done during the Shane Beamer era on the road. I've given the stat. I'll read you the stats. 8 straight losses for South Carolina now on the road. That predates the Shane Beamer era, but there are 8 straight losses. In the last 10 road games, Heath, South Carolina has given up 40.1 points per game. If you take out the lone victory over Vanderbilt in Nashville in 2020, South Carolina in the 9 losses has given up 43.7 points per game. You look back to last year, the Shane Beamer era, 5 road SEC games is what I'm using here. The 5 road SEC games, 4 of those, the Gamecocks have given up 40 points or more. And in only 1 game has South Carolina scored a touchdown in the first quarter. I hate to say it, and I don't know if you agree with it. I feel like fans within 10 minutes of the start of the game, 10, 12 minutes, are going to kind of know how this game's going just based on recent history.
Look at what we saw with Missouri and Georgia the other night. Now, you're not getting the advantage of being at home like they were, but you saw how your experience with Georgia played out, and you saw how their experience played out. A big part of that was they got some points on the board early, kept the crowd in the game and invested, and they were a factor all night. And that's just not something South Carolina has been able to do. And sooner or later, it absolutely has to change. And now you've had basically, for all practical purposes here, 2 weeks minimum, and I would argue maybe longer than that, to kind of game plan and at least think about this game and what things you can do to target this team. You have to come out with something that at least looks like it's crossing them up a little bit. I mean, let's say hypothetically that you break a guy wide open and Spencer Rattler sails the throw, but it's at least something that could have been a big play. At least that shows your fans that you found something. But too often it just does not happen right now with this team, and it simply has to change, or else they're not going to get the kind of results they're hoping for.
You mentioned that, and let's go to the other side of Spencer Rattler. Will Levis, we're running a promo. You might have heard it on your show with the Extra Point, where Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell and Pearson are discussing Will Levis, and they're trying to figure out this was a guy that I was after the Manning Passing Academy, right, Heath? It was after that all of a sudden everybody said, "Oh, this Will Levis guy, he's really good. Maybe a top 10 NFL pick, maybe the number 1 quarterback taken." He's had a solid season, and as a matter of fact, they can't run the football right now, or have struggled. Obviously, Chris Rodriguez just coming back, but Levis has thrown for 1,400 yards. He's completing almost 69% of his passes, 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. How good is this guy?
I think that he is a guy that is going to be touted when we get to draft time as being a Josh Allen-like guy. Not saying that they're the same player. It's certainly not saying he'll turn into the same level of NFL player, but a guy that is as much about the physical tools and what he can bring as it's going to be just pure passing. But, I mean, he's got a great arm. He's physical enough as a runner that he can take some pounding there, has good athleticism. I do think sometimes people have tried to make him more than he is, more quickly than he was ready to be. But at the same time, this year, Kentucky, they a very effective offensive line. Again, if you look at the numbers per game for them, no Rodriguez, but even with him back, it only got so much better. They are not effectively creating big run plays the way that they have in other years. And so more has been put on his shoulders, but he's also got better receivers. And with guys like Barry Brown, he's hitting plays. So I don't think Levis is the best quarterback in the SEC, but I think Levis is very good. And South Carolina is going to have to show him something that'll maybe get him a little bit off balance or confused. Last year, maybe you could confuse him. Year 2, it looks like he has come farther on that. You're going to have to show him something a little bit better than what you did last year to get him off balance.
Is this Is this for the South Carolina run defense kind of the, I don't want to say last stand, I guess you could perform, but Kentucky has a good running back in Chris Rodriguez. You just mentioned it. Because they have a passing game, you have to respect that. But Kentucky does enter this game averaging just 88 yards per game running the football. They're dead last in the SEC. South Carolina's run defense was expected to be better than this, and they have still been gashed plenty of times but they were certainly beaten up by Rocket Sanders in Arkansas. Georgia did whatever Georgia does. But is this kind of a moment where you go, okay, if you're going to be the defensive line we talked about in the preseason, this is the game you do it, because Kentucky's in transition with their offensive line. This isn't the typical Mark Stoops physical offensive line you've seen in the past. There's still some issues there. They lost Eric Wolford in the offseason. Offensive line of Kentucky versus defensive line of South Carolina, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, look, you're looking at 3 O-line coaches in 3 years, and I think it's showing up. And they have now gone twice against SEC level competition, and in those games, basically both times, they had 31 carries for between 128 and 140 yards. So there's a track record here of about what is a reasonable expectation for a defense against Kentucky's running game. Now, again, if you want to say you're adding Rodriguez into it, maybe that makes it better as he gets a little more in rhythm. Okay, I could give you even 31 carries for 155. That would still not be a terrible showing, but you just can't get lit up by them. And look, Bill, in so many ways, this era of Gamecock football and where things went from this heyday under Spurrier to things going sour, you can pick your landmark for exactly what it is. And I guess for most people, it's Texas A&M and that opening game. But remember, they rebounded. They beat Georgia after that. They still had some good moments. That Kentucky game that year, that ridiculous Kentucky game where you got a guy motioning, take me out of the game. I have run the Wildcats so much that I am exhausted. I cannot keep doing this. And they said, no, you stay out there and you run the Wildcat again. And he goes for 50 yards the next play. I mean, that in so many ways sums up how things began to change. South Carolina just simply couldn't get off the field against a Wildcat offense. That this isn't exactly, advanced calculus level football here. And they just couldn't stop it. Not only could they not stop it, they didn't look like they had any idea what it was. I mean, that's where things began to really go south. That era in 2014 there where the defense just forgot how to play football, and you've never gotten it right since. And so, yeah, stopping their running game would be a good place to start at beginning to regroup a little bit.
Yeah, again, there will be a lot of discussion about certainly Marcus Satterfield and the offense and can they score early. But, I go back and gave you those numbers. South Carolina's not really slowed down most teams in the first quarter. Arkansas was on the verge of scoring, I think, right before the clock hit zeros there at the end of the first quarter. They were really probably going to put up 14. Again, Texas A&M had 14. Tennessee had 28. Georgia had 14. South Carolina did keep Missouri out of the end zone in the first quarter of that ball game. They forced a turnover early, and Marshawn Lloyd could have scored to put South Carolina up 14. But as much as you put on the offense, and some of it is the offense being able to drive and keep the football away, going back to it, your defense should be fresh. They should be ready to come out and maybe have a wrinkle or two that you can throw at the opposing team's quarterback. It works the other way, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And, look, the thing about the Arkansas game, it's not just that you gave up runs, it's how you gave up runs. I mean, there were times where they just basically shoved you off the ball. I mean, they're back. You would sort of stop the guy for the first time, and then they would proceed to just push the pile forward 3 and 4 more yards. They did it over and over on third down conversions in that game. I mean, your defensive line is supposed to be the one unit on that side of the ball that you have the most confidence in, and in that game, they simply physically got overpowered way too much. So that's the thing that we've got to see is, can they, against an offensive line that's not as good as Arkansas, can they at least anchor in there and really hold their own, because this team's not going to have success. I mean, look, we all know about the injuries to guys like Kaba, that those things aren't going to get fixed, but that D-line still has most of the bodies it was supposed to have. That D-line is capable of better than we've seen, and they need to start showing.
He's Heath Klein. Got a show later this afternoon. What you got lined up for the rest of the week here and for today?
Wednesday's Todd Wright's day with us, so we'll do a little NFL with him and a little bit of fantasy football as well. Obviously, we'll react a little bit to last night as well with the 60-second homer, look ahead to some of the action coming up this weekend. The one thing I also do want to get into is, again, I I think this is a game that is an acid test for South Carolina on the ability to come out and just give Spencer Rattler a chance to operate and operate comfortably. So that's one of the things we want to talk about today too.
Let me ask you this real quick. At the beginning of the season, I feel like I had Texas A&M. If you had to rank games in order, most difficult to easiest, Texas A&M and Kentucky would have been right around the same spot, right around 4 or 5, right in there. After watching Texas A&M and whatever is happening there, have you dropped Texas A&M? Because I'm with you on an acid test of Kentucky. A lot of people, though, I feel like are putting more an emphasis on this Kentucky game, who I think is actually better than Texas A&M. Where do you put those two teams? Because you look at the next 4 games, I know a lot of people got all fired up and said, I don't see how South Carolina wins another game. This Kentucky team's beatable. They're beatable. Texas A&M is beatable, especially at home. Missouri is beatable at home, and Vanderbilt is Vanderbilt in Nashville. This is a very interesting stretch of games coming up for Shane Beamer in year 2.
Wait. Somebody got all hopped up on goofballs and decided they weren't going to win another game? Who did that?
I'd have to go start scrolling back through all the, how you've seen the text line. You have access.
You've beaten Vanderbilt every year in the last decade plus.
But they have a running quarterback this year. Have you not seen their offense?
Yeah, I mean, look, Missouri had a really nice game last week. It still lost, but Missouri also looked like they did against K-State, against Auburn. That's a very winnable game. If anybody's doing that, they got to calm the heck down. But yeah, look, A&M has to be treated as a potentially winnable game because right now they can't score more than about 17 on offense. And unless they show they can. Now, by the time you see them, they have 2 weeks to, if they're going to make any kind of radical changes, go to the freshman quarterback or whatever, and maybe you get a different version of them. Maybe they figure some things out. But at the moment, yeah, as long as they're stuck in neutral and can't score more than 17 on anybody, whether you're talking about a Miami team that gave up giant point totals to Middle Tennessee State or can't score on Appalachian State, can't score against anybody with any consistency, then yeah, I mean, you have to at least open the door for that. I would have had A&M after the humiliations of the last 2 years, as in that group with Georgia and Clemson, as the 3 forget about it. It's not going to happen unless miracles happen kind of game. It's certainly not in that category now, but who knows? By the time we get there, yeah, it might feel more winnable than some games that were on the schedule at the beginning of the year that people probably had in the toss-up category, and that's a real surprise, and it's also a real problem for Jimbo, although not as big a problem as if he didn't have 9 more years in that contract.
Buddy, get some rest. Know you got to be back on at 3 o'clock. Appreciate you hopping on with us this morning. Look forward to catching up with you later on.
All right, man. Talk to you next week.
Take care. That's Heath Klein. Make sure you catch him today, 3 to 6 on Game Time. We'll come back and we will wrap up the Wednesday morning episode of the early game. It's Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
on the next Extra Point.
Where are we on Will Levis on this show? Oh, boy.
Overrated.
I think he was a great addition to Kentucky's offense. Like I think he was and is an upgrade in a lot of ways for them. But I think we have now gone. It was like ESPN was like, we're going to make this guy into a top 5 pick.
I mean, Todd Blackwood said on the broadcast he might be the number 1 quarterback in the draft, and I was like, the number 1 quarterback taken in the 6th round? Like, what are you talking about?
It's almost like he's like a member of like a political party where they're like, this is our candidate.
It's
and he's being like, we are going to prop him up.
Is he being backed by Big Mayonnaise?
There you go.
The Extra Point
with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples Print and Marketing Services help small businesses create bold signs to make big impressions. Right now, get $10 off custom printed signs, banners, and posters when you spend $50 or more. Offer ends 12/31. Visit staples.com/this is your sign for details. This is your sign to print big at Staples.
The wait is over. New Chevys are on the lot now, and more are on the way to Herndon Chevrolet. These vehicles are in demand and selling fast, so don't miss out. Stop by your hometown Chevy dealer and shop all your favorite models at prices you'll love. Find new roads at Herndon Chevrolet or visit us online at herndonchevy.com today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, count on the experts at Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine to get you moving again. Our highly specialized physicians offer comprehensive care for patients at 5 convenient locations throughout the Midlands. Whether you're an athlete looking to return to your sport after injury or someone who needs help for knee, hip, elbow, shoulder, or foot pain, we're here for you. Our expert team can get you better sooner. Visit lexmed.com/ortho to learn more.
Are you seeing the telomeres here? Come here, look at the scope.
Dr. Ocasio's lab startup just discovered a gene therapy breakthrough.
The cells have already doubled.
He needs a fleet of research assistants before this breakthrough breaks them.
We need lab techs, research assistants.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, an oil change with full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advance can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $36.99. Find your solution for better fuel efficiency today at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So one day you notice your tires are as bald as I am. Lucky for you, eBay Motors has 7 million tires for almost every make and model. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Hey, y'all. Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet, quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon, Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City, 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
Festivals, football, flannels. Some say fall is their favorite time of year. And this fall, there are now updated COVID-19 booster shots designed to help protect against COVID-19 variants. If you've had your primary series, schedule an updated COVID-19 booster shot appointment as soon as you're eligible. And don't forget to enjoy the foliage. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Hi, I'm Capri, and the little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the chicken. They actually put it on the grill, cook it in the sauce. It's definitely a good grilled spicy sandwich.
Hey, I'm Michelle, and another thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is it's spicy and it's full of flavor. When you pair that with the kale club salad, it's just good.
Order a grilled spicy deluxe sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Available for a limited time. Real guests paid for the testimonials.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game with Bill Gunter and Jen Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks. 1075 The Game.
803-404-6100. About 2 minutes left in the program. Let's get back out to the Love Chevy phone lines. David wants to weigh in on Aaron Judge this morning. David, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Good, man. Real quick, I think it's awesome that Judge broke the record. I think it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but do you think the reason why it was crammed down our throats because it was the Yankees? Because, like, I'll be honest, I think Pujols should have got more coverage than Judge.
I mean,
that's just the question I have.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you for the phone call. Thank you for holding. Yes. I mean, a couple people in our live stream this morning have said the same thing. If this wasn't the Yankees, if this was the Mariners, or Aaron Judge is also a big name. I mean, that is part of it. Head of it. Let's just hypothetically. I'm trying to think, and let's hypothetically, even though he's out or has been out, let's say it was Fernando Tatis. Let's just say that he'd been playing this year, and it was him with the Padres. Do I think that we would have been getting that kind of? Probably not. But Aaron Judge is set for a huge contract. It is the Yankees, and I use Tatis just because he is a big name. The Padres are, a decent organization. They are in the playoffs, but it's not Aaron Judge. But certainly, that was, I guess, to go back to kind of recap the show. I brought it up just more so from what is the home run record mean anymore. That was part of it. Like, I got it. I do understand the American League home run record, and I get it being surpassing Maris, but I thought we'd kind of moved past that. And so it just felt like live shots of Aaron Judge going to bat, trying to hit 62. I guess my question was, what was the significance of it? It's a good season, and I like Aaron Judge. I hope he re-signs as a Yankee, to be quite honest. But we'll see. And then college football, we've covered a lot. Big thank you to Brad Crawford for joining us in the very first hour. You can go back and hear that. Jen has put that up on our podcast page, as well as putting it on her Twitter account. Big thank you to Heath Klein as well for joining us there in the previous 2 segments. Good news, we got another show tomorrow, folks. You keep that energy. I'll see you then.
Gamecocks, Braves, the NFL with live local radio. 107.5 The Game, WNKT FM, Eastover.
All right. Yes, we did not disappoint today. It was fun. That actually was. That's fun to do, and nothing went completely off the rails. I can live with shows like that. So hope y'all have a great rest of the day, and we will see you all. Yes, we'll see you tomorrow morning. We got JC, Brian Edwards, and Kerry Tharp. So we'll do it all again tomorrow. Take care.